Hopefully we'll have just as much fun as we did. And then in the aftermarket show, we're going to have Andrew Rader with a giveaway as well. So that's going to be a big one. We have a big day planned for everybody. It's been a fun Friday. But let's kick it on over to Sharif and Satya for a little bit of Learn to Trade.
Apparently it's Joseph on today. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. That is your girl, Satya, the crypto queen.
Hello, guys, and that is Sharif.
Thank you.
And we are back on the midday show, as you should on every Wednesday and Friday when I'm on, and then every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
I like that. And you got a lesson for us today. And it's a like a good lesson.
A good,
I was about to say another word. And I'm like, maybe I'm not OB, right?
Yes.
What's up, everybody? Let's shout out the gang coming in. Shout out to Pillsbury and Mateus Lane. Shout out to Dam. Shout out to Adam DeLuce, Ryan, MCR, and Andrew Chow. We got the OG Gaurav and Julie Beckwith joining us as well. Derek Thompson and 1320. Oh! Mary Ellen, DVD Ripper. I like that. Vin Duong, we got Rogelio Concepcion. He says, hey, Satya. Idris, shout out to Idris. Shout out to Jay Haas and Stock Up as well. Bedhead Trader, that is a good one right there. Hurt Scrambler. We got Ocean Goose and Jeremy Newman, BJ Zed, Russell Jackson. Shout out to Adara. Oh my God, Lily looking so beautiful. Shout out to Nessa, Erie Pages, Manjinder Manny. Betson Burrell, we got Anish, we got the Piper, Sean Drake joining us, CompuCare team, shout out to you as well. Milky Way, the Sido 26, and it wouldn't be a day without Mr. Love Shack joining us as well. And shout out to Gorilla Glue Grip. I like that because Joe's always, he's always chiming. He's like, you got paper hands, bro. You need to work on that grip strength at the gym, bro.
I love that.
And this guy's, he's got the Gorilla Glue Grip, so he's good to go. Good morning. How are you?
I am good. I am excellent. I hope you guys had a nice Halloween yesterday. I tuned in yesterday and I saw you in like a football uniform and Joe in his hockey uniform.
It's intense.
Yeah, that looked great. So if you guys didn't look at that, look at yesterday's video from yesterday. Tune in. They have some crazy stuff for you. But we're going to get into the lesson for today. So today,
what do you got for us?
I wanted to go more into my take profit levels, my bus stop levels. I'm always talking about it, and I want everyone to be on the same page in regards to what I'm talking about. So today is a bus stop level day. So we're going to get started in that today. So what is a bus stop level? And so we're going to do what we're covering today as well. So if we can show my screen here. Today we will be covering identifying take profit levels and identifying support and resistance zones. So we're going to get into that as of right now. So what is a bus stop level? So the term bus stop level is a term I coined to remind traders that there are zones where there could be potential bounces or rejections. Bus stop levels prevent traders from holding onto day trades for too long by anticipating support or resistance zones at key pivotal levels. So that is what I'm getting into. So how I came up with it is, this is the TTC. So this is our bus. This is one of the buses that I take. Yes. And so how I came up with it was, rather than, a price just extending, I find that, the price levels go to each bus stop. And so this is kind of the analogy where it came from. And so they're laughing in the back, but
Reb loves it.
This is where it came from. So taken to Toronto, into the finance, world. And so, we're going to get into that as well. So before I get into that, a bus stop level is a term I made up to remind traders of price action at certain levels. So it's to remind you guys that prices don't hold forever, like a bus stop. The bus doesn't stay at each station forever, right? And so like a public transit bus, stock prices usually stop for a short period of time before moving on to the next level. So a bus stop level is simply a price a ticker is likely to reach based on previous price action. It's best to acknowledge a bus stop level and see how the ticker reacts at that particular price by looking on the level 2 or the time of sales once it reaches the bus stop level. So in most cases, it's best to exit a piece or your whole position at the bus stop level to avoid potential reversals, guys. So overall, the bus stop level is a take profit strategy that is most useful for day trading or swing trading. So I'm going to get into what the different type of bus stop levels. So the types of bus stop levels that we're looking at is VWAP, the current high of day, the current low of day, the previous day high, the previous day low, previous day pre-market high, previous day pre-market low, local even dollar levels, and wicks or full candles that extend outside of a range either on the day or previous days. So we're going, you know I love my examples. I have a whole bunch of examples for you guys so you guys can stay on the same page with me. And so we're going to get started with that. So say, for example, we are entering here. Let's just say you had the privilege of entering right at the bottom. The VWAP level that I'm looking at for it to potentially stop at, either for a rejection, is at VWAP. So in this case, it didn't necessarily reject off of VWAP, but this is a point where I would be taking off some profits. So this is a level that I'm looking at, and then this is also a take profit target that I'm looking at the day's high. So going over here, and it reached this level as well, and then the pre-market high can also be a bus stop level that you can use as well. So this is a long example in terms of my bus stop level. And then I also have another few examples, so same type of thing, stops. This was the same as the previous photo, but with this one, say this is your entry, I would take off some profits at the second level at VWAP, maybe take some off at the previous day high, and then once it reaches the day's high, I would piece some off as well there. And then I also want to show you guys in a short example. We're going to Adara though, and I'll be back with that.
Just keep an eye here on TSLA. We have Elon Musk tweeting, and I quote, Tesla FSD is now almost entirely AI. So potential AI sympathy play here for TSLA up about 1%. And now getting a tweet from Elon Musk that it's full self-drive, which you've heard a lot more about lately, thanks to that Cybercab launch, is now, quote, almost entirely AI, guys. Make sure you vote for your tickers.
Thank you for that, Adara. So going back to the bus stop levels, so we have a short example here. So if we just show my chart here, so this is a take profit level for shorts. So this is a low of day example. So say, for example, you get in at this price here around 1, my take profit level would be around this 2 level at VWAP. In this case, it didn't bounce off of VWAP, but sometimes I anticipate that there may be a rejection there. I would piece off some there, maybe not my full position because it broke through. It didn't have a bounce at all. Take a piece off of there, and then remainder of my position I would be taking off at the low of day here. And that is how I found that. And then also, this is a take profit long example. So VWAP, again, is my take profit level. This is going long. So say, for example, you entered here at the low of the day, take a piece off of here, and then this is the high of day, and then you would piece off of there. So typically, I'm not looking for the very top of the range. I'm looking for confirmation zones. And so this is why, I'm not trying to time this very top, but you can see that the high of day is around a level where it starts to reject. Not necessarily at that price exactly, but it's a price where you want to start getting out. And so this was really consistent on NVIDIA as well. So that is an example there. And then this is also a take profit level long from the previous day. So if we go back, say we got in here at this bottom, take a piece off of here, and then I'm looking at this previous pre-market day low. And so that was a take profit level as well. Again, not looking for these highs to take off, but rather a confirmation level here from the pre-market low. And so that was also a level that it got to as well on NVIDIA on the 15. And then same thing, and then the same thing here. If you entered here, take a piece off of that VWAP, and then this is also the pre-market high. So notice how on this day, it got to the pre-market high and then started to reject. That is also a confirmation level as well. And then another example that I have, entered here, right at the bottom, take a piece off that VWAP, and then we have this previous day high that came up here. In this case, it would have been, taking it off a little bit prematurely, but it's not, you're not taking the whole position off, just a little bit, seeing how it reacts at that level. And then you could have taken it off again at the pre-market high in this case as well. and then showing you other examples as well, just because I find with repetition, you'll start to really understand what I'm talking about here. So this is a short example. So say you got in here, my bus stop level again would be at VWAP. VWAP is usually the second bus stop level before any other bus stop level. So VWAP is my second bus stop level, and then the previous day low was my bus stop level as well. And then I also, so now we have that covered in terms of, the pre-market high, the pre-market low, the day's high, the day's low as bus stop levels. I also have local even dollar levels as a bus stop level, but we're going to Adara. She has some news for us.
Microsoft here making new day's highs up about 2.1%. I am seeing no news on this. It's worth noting, though, we're getting a lot of social media attention. I'm talking multiple tweets for a minute. This is usually the type of attention you more see when we have meme stocks running or some of these small caps. So retail traders right now definitely looking at MSFT with its highest volume candle of the day so far in the 5-minute chart. It's also worth noting Microsoft had its worst performance in one-day performance since October 2022 yesterday. So worst performance in 2 years could be a rebound after those earnings reaction yesterday, guys. For MSFT, vote for your tickers in the chat, !Dwayne, space, $, and whatever ticker you're looking at.
Awesome. Thank you, Adara. So yeah, going back to my local even dollar levels. So say, for example, you got in at the pre-market high around this 22.50 for my day traders. If you're looking for a price where, you want to start taking profits, the next even dollar would be my take profit level here. And then is that all? Yeah, that is all of the last one that I have is this one here. So on longer time frames, more for swing trading or long-term investing, if you want to look for a bus stop level, this is on the hourly time frame, and so you could look at this level, and you're looking for extended levels. So this purple line here was from 2024, and so say, for example, this is Intel, and you got in around 22.67. If you're looking for a swing trade or a long-term investment bus stop level, I'm looking here at this mark around 30.50. So that would be my bus stop level on the higher time frame. And then that's all the examples that I have today. That concludes my lesson.
Fire lesson as usual.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Satea, for
Thank
dropping
you.
that lesson. Always very wise, informative, and quite frankly, eloquent. So, yeah, we're going to shout out Satea and thank her for the lesson there. While she was dropping said hot lines, I happened to weasel into a few trades. Let me cover some of them right now. We'll do with the one that I'm actually doing well on so far. CDXC holds the volume weighted average price, small cap gapper. The number one gapper since the bell has rung. Not the number one gapper on the day from 4 a.m. since the bell rang. This bad boy is up 51%. They're a global biosciences company with about a $400 million market cap and a float of 48.5 million shares. And let's find out if they have a short float of note here. CDXC. What do we got? We got 6.18% of that float is being borrowed for short, so not a bad amount there. Already a few beak wetters on it, looking to take it out or take out the next beak wetter there at just below 40s to account for that double top that we put in, I believe, at 48. So I've moved up my stop as well. Prior to all these beak wetters, I had my stop below $5. Now, as a result of this current price action, I've moved it up to below the entry. The other one I'm in, Mobileye. VWAP hold on Mobileye. Don't know why this is up 11.5%, possibly running in sympathy with Intel. Quite frankly, obviously, we know the Intel spun this off a couple of years ago, so the connection with the two companies is well documented. Perhaps the market liking something to do, obviously, with Intel that may affect Mobileye. Not really sure, don't really care. Holding at VWAP, need this bad boy to hold VWAP, hold 15, and start curling back up. Going to keep an eye on that. Thank you, Adara. Mobileye, day 2 earnings. Adara letting me know that. That makes sense. Putting the two bad boys there back to back together. All right, the last but not least over here, ADMA, where the hell is it? There we go. We got a print finally on Adama. Not Adama Traore either for all my soccer fans. You guys know who he is. The dude is jacked, like twice my size. Apparently doesn't lift weights.
I never heard of
We'll
that
show him. Well, don't worry. We got access to the internet.
Usually it's soccer players, they have like a slim body.
The dude is... He's obese for a soccer player, but not obese in our sense.
He's just cut.
jacked.
Yeah.
My man's big. Adama Traore. Anybody who watches soccer knows what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, how much they run? I mean, you're burning
Is
so
he
much
running
fat.
with his arms?
Oh, it's the arms that are jacked. I thought you meant the legs.
Huge. Both. The dude's huge. We'll get to him in a hot minute. So shout out to ADMA. We just got the print there, but not at a dodge. This has been a whiffling and waffling right now at the volume weighted average price. I needed to hold VWAP. You guys know how I trade these small cap gappers. They've got to respect these levels. If they don't respect them, I'm Gonzino. That's that simple. So ADMA, we de-risk there, but this is not a good trade by any means yet. This one is okay. So CDXC, let's see if we can get that print. I've been waiting up at the high 30s for a hot minute. We did reject at 35 last time around. So yeah, I expect resistance, and it looks like we're getting it right here. So that's the look there. What's Mobileye doing? Mobileye still whiffling and waffling with VWAP. It is putting in higher lows ever since that drop off 1583, okay? 1583, that's the high. It dropped down into that 1510 level. That's where VWAP is. That's what prompted me to get in. Let's see if this one wants to hold VWAP. What are your 3 rules again, asks Rivian Millionaire. Great question. Let's show CDXC, and we'll talk about it there. So, number 1, Rivian, if it traded in the pre-market, if it was running in the pre-market, I need a definable pre-market high. So, you know, not like a super consolidative area, but an area where it went to and then obviously retraced. If it has that definable pre-market high, I have to be, I will have to wait to get long once it breaks that pre-market high. So it's got to be trading above the pre-market high. And then last but not least, it's got to be north of the volume weighted average price for me to take it as a breakout trade long. Conversely, if I'm going to short these small cap gappers, it's got to be below the volume weighted average price for me to get interested in taking it short. So those are generally the rules. Obviously, I have a few more nuanced rules like my price and my volume. You know, that's how I use my scanner. My scanner, I filter everything out less than 85 pennies. The idea there is to be made aware in advance of the ones approaching $1. That's why I use 85. It's not kind of just a random number. And then the volume, Rivian, it's got to be above 250, but quite frankly, 250,000, that's for the pre-market. If we're trading after the bell, and certainly if we're trading after 11, the volume's got to be several million. Otherwise, you know, it's just not worth it for me. So that is the look right now. We're whiffling and waffling on 2 trades, but this CDXC seems to keep working into that newer high. There's a seller of note, though, certainly at 35. That's the 3rd time we've rejected off $5.35, so I won't be convinced any different that there's an iceberg order, a hidden seller. That's what we call an iceberg order. And in case you're just wondering what that is, you're a newer trader, it's essentially an order that doesn't show its full size. It shows you, say, 100 lots when there's really 1,000, right? Hence the iceberg, where it shows the majority of its mass, the majority of its mass is under the water, not above. So that is the look there. So holding on to Mobileye, we're 10 pennies out of the money. CDXC just dropped, didn't get that 35 fill, but I'm going to pack my patience because I've already moved up my order. And Adama, we just took the print at 70s, but we're, again, 10 pennies out of the money because it's zigging and zagging in this rage. Sataya, what have you been looking at in the morning?
Yeah, for sure. So as of right now, I'm looking at NVIDIA. So I got in at 136.43. So I got in around here. It seems like it's struggling a little bit with 40s. It kind of gets to that level and then it's rejecting a little bit. But I'm still convicted in the trade. We are still above VWAP, and so I really like the look of that. And so I'm just going to hold this. I feel like I'm not really wrong until we break around 135.53. My bus stop level is around this high here. I'm not necessarily waiting for this exact high, but near it around 137. So I'm looking at that for NVIDIA, looking pretty decent there on NVIDIA. And then someone in the chat said Tesla, so I'm just going to go over to that as well. And I like the look of this as well. Like the fact that we made this bottom here at 10 a.m., which I really like. Typically, that is when the new trade setup happens. So we had that flush a little bit off of the open, and then we're curling up to the upside above VWAP, liking the look of that. We're approaching this day's high here around $254. Definitely think that it can reach that level as well. A poll popped up. What's your must-have for a high-energy trade day? Coffee, Raider, Neil rap battle, Reddit and Twitter updates, desk and snack stockpiles. I'm going to do a Raider and Neil rap battle. Let's do that. Let's go. But yeah, I'm looking at Tesla here as of right now. This looks like a really nice long as well. I would say that you can get in here, but for my play specifically, I'm looking for the break of 254. But I feel like it could still get from 253. I think that it can get to this 254 level. But we just want to see, that high energy on the time of sales. We want to see a hold above VWAP consistently, and so I think that is a good look. How about you, Sharif?
Just took a beak wetter. I took actually a couple of beak wetters on Mobileye there as it did break through, making another high, but it's like, let's call a spade, Satya. It's quite anemic in its ascent. So it's not giving me that big boy breakout trade, nor are there any, huge sellers that if we take them out, it's going to squeeze, not from what I can discern anyway right now on the tape or the book. And you can kind of just glance at all the different levels. You don't see any large size posted. So I'm packing my patience, and I'm also aware of the higher highs and higher lows. But on the other side of that coin, I am aware that it's quite weak in how it's ascending. So I'm displeased and I'm trying to pack my patience at the same time. Adama, let's go, bruh. I've been waiting at these 75s, but you've been ranging and you've been me off. But we're gonna keep a positive attitude. We're gonna try to print at 75, and then we're gonna put the next beak wetter above 75 at 82s. And we're going to keep it there. Now, that's what I'm looking for there. So here we go, reascending above into that 70 area. This one, it's not that spready. Quite frankly, it's a 1 penny spread, despite the fact that its volume is, right? So 6.5 million shares on a $20 name. Now it's opened up to a 2 penny spread. I think that's manageable. I think I should be able to manage that. We'll keep an eye out on this one. But Adara's got something for us, though, at the big desk.
We're going to take a look here at some of the larger movers to the upside and the downside on the S&P 500. Again, if these or any other tickers, S&P 500 or not, are on your mind, get in that chat and vote. Exclamation point, join, space, $ in your ticker of choice. You have 2.5 hours left to do this until the poll closes at 1:50 p.m. At 2 p.m., the top 5 tickers will be gone over by Neil and Obi, and Sharif will give you some info on that green screen, so definitely make sure to vote for your tickers of choice. Now, for the theme today, I wanted to look at tickers that are sharply to the downside, given all that strength in the market. So what's moving against the market right now? We have SMCI. This is its 3rd straight day of weakness. On Wednesday, its independent auditor resigned. No news from today, but yesterday, after that auditor news, we had some follow-ups here. We had Argus downgrading its rating on SMCI. We had actually Rosenblatt suspending analysis entirely on the stock due to its governance and accounting issues. We also had Ming Chi Kuo saying that he thinks some of the risks SMCI could face as of right now include potential trading suspension or delisting. So not a great look here for SMCI, which is down almost 6%. AES down here on earnings. They beat on EPS. They missed on sales. So this utilities and energy-related name to the downside. And last but not least, another earnings miss, Amcor. AMCR down about 8%. They missed both earnings per share and sales estimates. If these or any other tickers are on your mind, make sure you vote, exclamation point, join, space, $, and your ticker of choice, guys. Back to the show.
Thank you very much, Adara. Get stopped out for the remaining amount on CDXC. So we take we took 3 beak wetters, get stopped out for about, I think, a 4 penny loss on 510 shelf, and quite frankly had been bouncing off that 510 shelf for a while. So the fact that it dipped into 5 wasn't something I was ready for. If it does want to defend 5, and it does look like it is bouncing back up now, that's something we can definitely organize and get back in there. Keeping an eye on Mobileye as it continues to put in those higher highs and higher lows, but it's really struggling. Now there's another one, guys, and this is the one that we talked about in the morning, GSAT. Do you ever have any of those older satellite dishes, the black ones that would move from like different satellites? Do you know what I'm talking about? Not the gray ones.
The one that like sits on the top of your house?
No, this one was way too big to put on the top. Like the small gray ones, I think that's what you're thinking about, right? Like
fair.
No, these were big black satellite dishes, like monsters.
Okay.
And they would move from like different satellite to different satellite. It wasn't fixed, so. Because it was analog. It was like back in the day. Anyway,
okay, no, that's before my time, to be honest.
I bet you've seen them around, because my parents still have one in the garden for like, it's not in use anymore, but it's there. It takes more money to remove it than.
Is it like a box?
No, it's like it's like a round satellite dish with a monster big plate and an even bigger
You lost me. You lost me.
Yeah, but I'll show you one. We'll show Adama Traore and the satellite dish. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so GSAT, this company was big back in the day. If you lived in a rural area and you didn't have cable, it was this. I mean, you got before digital, right?
Okay, fair.
Sorry.
The dinosaur ages.
Yeah. Okay. We offended half the people in the chat. That's all right. It's all good there.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. We're kidding, of course. So GSAT, guys, I love these small cap gappers, but if they're going to have the meat of the move in the pre-market and then tank at the open, that ain't the look. You know my rule. It's got to be trading above the pre-market high. We're not even close. That's at $1.80. We're printing $1.43. We got above VWAP, great, so you can put the check mark there, trading above VWAP, but we've definitely got a discernible pre-market high that we're still very far away from. So I'm going to keep tabs on this one. I'm not, super pumped to trade it or anything, but if this one wants to get the volume back up and start showing me higher highs and higher lows like it is kind of right now, but it looks like it is encountering some resistance at this $1.43 level. So yeah, I don't mind trading it, but it's going to have to set up the right way. Keeping my eye here on Mobileye. That's the only trade we've got left on the moment. We'll see what we get with this one. My man, Saad Mahmoud. Adama Traore probably puts his foot on the satellite dish. Dude, he could bend the satellite dish with one arm if he wanted to. Well, maybe both arms. He needs a grip.
You still need to show me this person.
All right, we're going to do it. The dude's D's. All right, and I don't say that about too many people because, well, Adama Traore, there he is. My man's D's. Muscle. Let's put in MUSCLE. Let's see what we get there. I told you my man is D's. The dude's, he's a soccer player, Satya.
You would think he's like a football player or something.
They're not built like that, soccer dudes. They don't build them this way.
He must have played something else.
He doesn't work out. Well, look, you can believe him or not. You choose to believe. He says he doesn't lift weights. He does his regular soccer training with the team, and that's what he does. I happen not to believe that, but
I don't know. I mean,
my man's D's.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks great.
Yeah, so shout out to Adama Traore, man. He plays for a really crappy team, but it's okay. It's not his problem there. It's fine. Everything's fine. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at GSAT. You've got Tesla up there, though, huh?
Yes, I got Tesla. This was something that I was looking at for you guys, but I wanted to go over UAL because someone said UAL in the chat. And so this is breaking above yesterday's day's high, and then also from the previous day, 2 days ago on Wednesday. So I think this is definitely a very significant level that we're reaching here. So if you miss this kind of trade at VWAP, getting in here I think isn't a bad look as well. So that is looking really strong. Going back, is this at all-time highs? Gonna look back on a higher time frame here. Let's go to the 3 month. Okay, not exactly at all-time highs yet, but we are approaching it. And so the all-time high is here around $97. So that is around my bus stop level. Not necessarily something we're going to get today, but this looks really strong for UAL. That looks really great, really good look there on UAL. So if you're getting in, I would say as long as we're holding this level here around $81, this looks very, very strong. If you are kind of wary to get in at these levels, possibly a pullback to VWAP or possibly the 9 EMA. And so that looks really great as well. And then going back to my NVIDIA trade is working. Really love that. So nice first trade of the day. Really liked it. Why did I like it? Because it's holding VWAP. Thank you for that, Bang. I needed that. And so we are about 4 cents away from my take profit level. So I told you guys I was going to get out at that even dollar level around 137. I wasn't necessarily waiting for this day's high because I was just taking it at the next even dollar level. And bang, we're going to hit that take profit just now. Okay, it doesn't want to do it yet, but we are very, very close, and that is what I'm looking at. And then something else that I wanted to look at is Intel, because I see some people saying Intel in the chat, and this looks really good as well. I like the bounce here at 930, this strong wick here, and all the bidders bid that up. It held this level around 2258, call it 2260. And then we're going to the upside. And what I really like about this trade is it's starting to break this pre-market high. And you guys know me, I love my pre-market high entries. And so as long as we can hold VWAP, I wouldn't mind getting in here as of right now, actually. And so I would throw in my order here, but I'm just going to let my NVIDIA cook. My NVIDIA cooked. I hit that take profit level. I'm going to do the bang again.
Of course.
Hit that bang again. And then, yes, Intel looking really good as well, hitting that entry price around 23.40. So I'm going to do that. How about you, Sharif?
All right, we are in Donald John pump for like that breakthrough 30, but I don't think I'm going to be in it very long because it looks like it's going to break through my stop level. Yeah, and there we just got stopped out. So we tried to take this into VWAP, which was at 33.50 for me there, but it rejected off the 20. It's not a level that I gauged it was going to reject off, so we'll take an L there on Donald John Trump. Maybe not a good idea to take this long when it's 7.5% in negative lane. We did take more profits, so in the high 30s here on Mobileye, as that continues to make higher highs and higher lows. The next little profit target I've got here, mid 40s on MBLY, up 12.5%. I'm thinking about getting back into CDXC over here, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. It held 5 well. The only thing really kind of holding me back from this one is I'm starting to see a descending wedge where it's putting in lower lows, but lower highs, excuse me, with that flat bottom in and around 510. So I don't want to be in there if that's what it's going to do, but if it's going to curl and hold VWAP, like I don't mind adding into 5. So if I was to get in, say 515, 510, and it was to dip down like it did last time when it stopped me out into $5, I don't mind adding there now that I know that that's what it's kind of doing. So I'm thinking about getting right back into this area over here, but we'll keep tabs on that. What else we got over here? Keeping an eye. Yeah, Mobileye, not so much. Wow, I did get shaken out of Donald John pump there because right back to the high side it goes. That's kind of frustrating. So does this break 33? I'm going to try this again. So there we go. We're going to do this again over here. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to layer my outs as well. And I'll be interested in adding on a dollar cost average here now that I know it's making higher lows and higher highs. So what it's having trouble with is 33, and it's not a level that I really gauged of any resistance. I mean, it was kind of an intermediary level there in the pre-market. So if it's going to zig and zag with 33, I'm fine with that, but I'm going to add to it on the dips. And so where did it dip into last time? It dipped right into that low, where did it go? Mid 60s. So I have to account for a mid 70s dip if I'm anticipating higher lows, then I'm going to set something up for a mid-70s dip over here, and that's exactly what it's giving me. So we're going to hang out at 77, see if we can add to the position at 77s for an ultimate break up to the upside. So that's what I'm doing right now, doing the dance with Donald John pump. Hopefully this one weasels into that 33.5, which is where I'm gauging VWAP is, and then let's see if it rejects there, Satya.
So I just entered my...
You're muted.
Sorry, still coughing, guys. Until I stop, it's going to be muted sometimes. But going back to Intel, so I got in on that Intel here. I got in around 23.37. And so front ran it just a little bit, but I am very convicted in this break here. If I do see a break below 23.09, 23, then I'm going to hop out of that. And, you know, I want to see it really break strong above this level. And so we're in the money a little bit, got in at 37s. We're currently at 41s, so really like the look of that. I'm seeing strong buying on the tape. Just look at all that green action. Green, green, green. This is filtered out by about, I think, 50 shares. So look at that, all green, Greensville on Intel, looking really nice there. So that looks great as well. And then I saw someone say AMD in the chat. So we're going to weasel on over to that. And what's my look on this? Let's see here. I like the fact that, you know, we had some wicks here from the bottom, so around 141.36, and then we do have a little bit of resistance here around 141.94. I'm not seeing a lot of strong volume as of yet. I usually like to get in close to VWAP as well, but I want to see at least a break of 143.50 for me to really get involved in this trade. And so I think that this could potentially break just because we do still have this downward trend going on here on AMD. But I feel like if we can see a little bit of a break above 143.50, then this looks like a pretty nice trade as well. But I would say wait for that just so that you don't get in here and then VWAP doesn't hold and then it's continues to the downside because we still are in this downward trend. And then someone's saying, Stephen Ford, drink some tea. I know, I need to drink some tea. I have my water here, staying hydrated, so so I don't, cough in your ear too much for you guys. And then going back to Tesla, okay, I'm glad that I didn't get in prematurely with this as well. I have an alert set here around 254, and I still want to see it get to this day's high because I'm not convinced yet. Tesla, you're not going to bamboozle me. We're going to get to 254. We're going to see what it does at that level, and then I will get in there. I will not get in before. How about you, Sharif?
Yes, Justin, still DJT over here. Where are we long? We're long 63s. Yeah, it's breaking down, Satay. I don't think this is the right trade. It looks like it's going to be a 33 rejection and another stop out here. So, not good trading so far on Donald John Trump. It's going to stop me out. So I'm going to let that one cook. The only profitable trade, sadly, on the moment right now is Mobileye. Well, actually, CDXC was profitable as well, but it's still I'm still negative on the day as a result of Donald John Trump. And it's umpteen amount of stop outs over here. Okay. So, yeah, just got stopped out through 40. Going to keep my eye out on this one. I don't really have a whole lot going on, guys. There's not much for me to trade at the moment, so I'm not going to force any of these trades. I'm looking at the scanner to see if there's anything, possibly good at the moment. And there's nothing to my liking, quite frankly. So let's just have a look at this ASPI. Okay, so this is trading near high day. Let's bring in the side chart and put this bad boy on over here. What are we going to take off? We're going to take LMND off ASPI. Let's have a look at this one. All right, this is printing at 886, so it's a strong move there. Kind of bull flagging, held VWAP quite respectably at $8. It was either an $8 hold or a VWAP hold, but what I did like about this one is that from resistance it flipped to support. Oh, yeah, we got it, Derek. Get it.
Keep an eye on Adobe, ADBE. Just got its largest volume candle of the day by far here on that 5-minute chart. I'll pull it to a 3-minute here. So yeah, definitely a bit of an initial volume move to the downside. Getting reported here that Pixelmator has been acquired by Apple. So this impacting ADBE to the downside looks like a bit of an antipathy play here, guys.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to keep an eye out on this ASPI. This is the one that's setting up properly here. Okay, so now this is not a pre-market mover. This one really, the volume started coming in after the bell at around 940. It's set up pretty well over here, and it's respecting areas of previous resistance as support. So I'm going to try to work into this one. This one looks to my liking here. What are the details? 600 million market cap, 13.8 million shares traded today, 28 million share float. And the short float on this is large. It's about 24.25%. So we can definitely get a squeeze on this bad boy here. ASPI finally giving me something to look at over here. There we go. We're going to load that up. It's on the NASDAQ. We're going to work into this properly, though. I don't want to be trading this one in a haphazard manner. And it is a little bit away from the 10 exponential on the 5. So I wouldn't entirely mind a dip trade, maybe into 50 pennies, maybe into 40. We'll start layering some orders, though, Sate.
Awesome. So someone's saying Meta in the chat. And so we're going to take a look at this as well. So with Meta here, what I can see is we approach that pre-market high. We're rejecting a little bit off of this level. We do have this uptrend here since the morning. And so this was around 9:30, had that dip buy. All the bidders are coming up. But we are seeing a little bit of a rejection there. I don't want to see a break of this trend line here, this teal kind of color. If it does break this line, so around 570, I can see it potentially going to VWAP around 568.64, call it 568.60. And so I really don't want to see that. I kind of want to see a hold of the trend line. I don't necessarily think that we're going to bang down and, flip into a downtrend as of yet, but I think getting in here is just a little bit too early. And so I would wait for a potential dip buy here around VWAP here. And so that's what I'm looking at. And then AMD, see, this is what I mean with AMD. Glad we didn't get in here. It's just coming down a little bit here. So if we look on the 3-minute here, we're still kind of in this downtrend. It's trying really hard to get and stay above VWAP. And so we want to see that if we're going to hold above VWAP, I don't want to see any candles closing below VWAP. And I really want to see a strong hold at that level. So that looks really good there. And then I see my Intel printing. So I do have my take profit here at 23.60. So I'm just going to scalp it out for about 20 cents. I'm going to put my my stop loss at break even once we cross 45s. And so I think that that's pretty reasonable as well. I don't see rejection really happening here. And so it looks like we're still trending up here on Intel. Thank you for whoever shouted that in the chat. Shout out to you guys for putting my eyes on that. And then Scott Edwards here saying MARA in the chat. So let's pull that up here. Short here. Yeah, this looks like a short for sure. I would say, you know, if you got in here, that is a really good look. If you are not in the position as of right now and you're still waiting for more confirmation, I'm just going to pull up the 9 EMA. Let's see here. So yeah, it's trailing. This is the weighted moving average, and so it kind of does the same. This is on the 9-day, and so it is trailing this weighted moving average here. And so I really like the look of that. I really like the fact that it broke through this level here. But I want to see a little bit more confirmation just so it doesn't potentially wick at this level. Maybe around 1680, that's when I would start to get involved with this. So around here, just for a little bit more confirmation. But I would say the short is looking like it is in play as of right now, just because it's breaking through this level. That was a bounce level at 10 a.m. And so that happened, this trade happened, all the longs got in, there's a reversal here, and so 80s, 1680s is what I'm looking at for Mara, just for a little bit more confirmation for the short there. And then someone saying, can you look at GSAT, please? Of course I can. So let's look at that, GSAT. Oh, this looks good as well. This looks really nice. I like the fact that it's breaking above VWAP, which is really nice. I like this distinct hold off of the weighted moving average price. Like, just look at how it holds that, and it's continuing to the way up. I would say this is a really nice entry level here. I would wait for a little bit more confirmation, maybe post around 151, just for that added confirmation that it's going to go to the upside, rather than rejecting at that 150 level. And so that looks really good as well. My bus stop level that I'm looking at is around 178, 180, which is the pre-market high. And so that looks really good, but don't necessarily get in as of right now. 151, wait for that confirmation, and that's what I'm looking at. How about you, Sheree?
Sounds good. I'm going to flip. I was looking to, where's CoinL trade? CONL. There we go. It's on the NASDAQ. All right. So a couple of things here. CoinL into VWAP on my side chart. This is obviously a Coinbase derivative ETF. So it's at the volume weighted average price right now, I believe, right at that 40 penny area. So it's one that I've been watching for Coinbase, so we'll keep an eye out on that. I took another couple of prints here on Mobilize. It broke through 40. I've layered my prints now 55, 65 for the next outs. The other trade that I'm in, ASPI, took a bit of a beak wetter there at 80 after getting in at 72s. I don't have as much size as I want. So somebody was asking me in the chat, he's like, how are you going to get into ASPI? I'm like, I'm layering my orders. So got in, wet my beak already, but looking at getting some more in and around 63 to 65. I like this all the way down into 40s to account for this area trough over here. So I'm looking at building my position in ASPI, but it's got to remain above 40s. Adara, what do you have for us?
I have earnings, Sharif. We're going to take a look here at some of these day one plays and then what's on top for next week. So we have AAPL here. I did want to go over this one because this is interesting. It's down on the day. They did beat here on sales. Apparently a record quarterly sales print, according to Tim Cook, of $94.9 billion, above estimates of $94.56 billion. But their GAAP EPS was a bit of an issue, 97 cents per share. Now, this was due to a one-time charge related to a tax decision in Europe. Their adjusted EPS actually beat estimates here, 164 versus 160 expected. Their services revenue also apparently beat at a record quarter here for services revenue, $24.972 billion, above $22.31 billion expected. However, they did miss estimates there of $25.8 billion. So quarterly record above the prior, but below estimates for that services revenue, which was maybe a bit of an issue here for AAPL. Then we had Dominion, which is still up on the day, but making a bit of a head and shoulders here with that 61.10 area serving as the shoulders and 61.90 as the head. Dominion Energy initially pushing up here. They missed on sales, but they beat on EPS, and they narrowed their guidance. So they actually raised the lower end of their fiscal 2024 EPS guidance, but lowered the higher end compared here to 277 expected. They're now seeing a range between 268 and 283. Now, in terms of what's on tap, we're going to get Berkshire Hathaway. Usually they drop over the weekend, so BRKB could be on watch there on Monday. Also on watch is CEG, Constellation Energy, with that Microsoft deal. This one's been pretty hot since then. 6:45 a.m. on Monday. Analysts are looking for $6.21 billion in revenue and earnings of $2.72 per share. Also on watch here is going to be BEN. Franklin Resources, we know they've been hit recently with some investigations. So BEN here expecting 60 cents per share in earnings and $2.12 billion in revenue. If these or any other tickers are on your mind, get in the chat and vote, ! Join space, $, and your ticker of choice. Back to you guys.
In case you were wondering how to do it, there it is, baby, ! And then they got to type in join, Satya. But
Yes.
the most important part is the space and the $.
Make sure you put that space.
Because Streamlabs gets upset. People don't put that space. Streamlabs freaks out. And the votes don't get registered. So we need that space.
You want your vote in, put join, what is it?
Join?
Join.
It will show one more
Exclamation
time.
point,
There it
yeah.
is, there it is.
Exclamation, join, $, and then the ticker you're looking for, guys. Put that in the chat. And space, yes. Don't forget the space. I'm so sorry. I forgot about the space.
It's
but
all good.
put that in there and get that in. And so, yes. And so going back to some things that I was looking at AMD as of right now. It is breaking below VWAP, which I think personally looks really good for the short. The fact that we do have this trend line here. I would want to initiate the short around here. So I'm going to put my my target, not my target, but my alert. Yes, I keep forgetting what that name is. Alert here at 141.90 and hopefully wait for it to get down there. And then with Intel, I didn't like what I saw around 45s. I saw some rejection there, and the fact that we're at those highs, I didn't really like that. I mean, it is still holding this 9 EMA here, but I didn't really like it, so I just punched out there a little bit. And so I'll wait to get back in if we can see, you know, more of a pullback here. But that's what I'm looking at. How about you, Sharif?
Yeah, same thing. I was keeping, well, not the same thing, but same thing that I was looking at before, Coinbase. I was looking at that Coin L, Ram, to take it off the volume weighted average price, but it's really breaking down. So whether you're looking at Coin L or CONL, excuse me, or COIN coin, they're both below the volume weighted average price. So it's not the setup I'm looking for right now. The entire idea behind that was to take a VWAP hold, and it's not giving you that. So that ain't the move for me. Not going to trade that. But I'm watching GSAT incrementally work its way above the volume weighted average price, and now it's weaseling above that 50 penny area. Not like the 50 penny area is the end all and be all, but it is, you know, psychological resistance at times. So again, if I was to trade this right now, it would be breaching my rules. This has to take that $1.79, $1.80 for me to actually be following the rules. But yeah, we'll see if we can weasel into something like that. We'll keep an eye out on that. So GSAT, yeah, a bit of a tougher play right now. Now, this is the play that we're in now. We've got all that we want here on GSPI. It's coming down into that 10 exponential. It needs to find support here. Otherwise, I want no smoke below the area of 830. So we already took a couple of beak wetters on this one, and it's going to have to set up as a bull flag continuation and hold these moving averages if we're going to stay loyal to this one. So if it breaks anything below that 30 penny area, I don't want any smoke. It's coming down. Now we've got the position that we want. So now it's about holding the areas that I've earmarked. If it doesn't, then we get at a dodge. Simple as that. Keeping my eye on Mobileye. It worked into that 50 penny area. I had my beak wetter a little bit north of 50 pennies, just around 55s. I still like the trend on this one. Higher highs, higher lows. But I've moved up my stop now to account for the multiple beak wetters there. We moved it up from that 1490 into that 1510 area. So that is what I'm looking at on that bad boy. And this one here, CDXC, guys, I got out of this one probably in the wrong way. I should have been looking at 5 rather than 510, accounting for, you know, these bottom wicks that could stop me out. But it's doing quite well. It's worked its way off 510. Now it's back into 530. The only thing really keeping me not super enthusiastic about this is the lower high situation. So it could be doing kind of, you know, what we call a descending wedge where it makes lower highs and then flat bottom breaks. But I'm not going to try and call that. If it comes back into VWAP again, I think I'm going to pick it up. So CDXC certainly on my watch, Mobileye on my watch, and obviously now that I'm involved in ASPI, we're obviously keeping an eye on that too. So Taya, what do you got over there?
Awesome. So I'm just putting in a position here for AMD. So I'm going to wait for that to trigger here. So I'm waiting for this level here, as I was saying, around this 141.86. Not necessarily putting my order at this level, but a little bit below, because I want to make sure that it doesn't bounce from this level. So I have mine around 141.79, 141.78. So hopefully as it comes down there, I can get my order triggered on the way down. So that's what I'm looking at, putting my stop loss a little bit above VWAP around 142.95. If it does get up there, I don't want that smoke. I don't want any involvement there. And I think that is a good risk level as well. If I wanted to give it a little bit more room, I could even do these highs around 143.47. I think this is even better than doing it at VWAP. And then we're going to Adara.
Keep an eye here on VSTE. Not finding any catalyst on this, so I'm still looking, but huge volume spike here. Very little social media attention as well. It's worth noting that Vast Renewables here actually ran as recently as Tuesday, announcing it signed a development services agreement with GGS. So the ticker could be fresh on people's minds with that recent rally. VSTE does have a float of 2.08 million shares, a pretty small float, 93% insider owned here, guys.
Yeah, just as Adair brought us that, Wes Wesial was yelling about it. Thank you both for that. Obviously, you know my affinity for these small cap gappers, Satea.
You do, yes.
70%, and we're still pamping right now. Did you see what I put on the upgrades and downgrades board?
No.
Had to do this for Adara. It was called, what was it called, Adara? Yes. No. The one on upgrades and downgrades today that had Pam.
Pampa Energia.
Pampa Energia. Yo, we had to throw. We always have good times around here. So we want this one to pamp as well. And VSTE certainly pamping as well. Let me show you guys the trading screen on VSTE before we send it to Satea real quick. We're going to take off Coin L because it's not working right now. Here we go. VSTE 350 HOD. You can see the tape now. It's moving big and it's moving fast. And that's what happens when we get into the highs, guys. Setting up quite nicely, broke that top that we had put in at 1030 at 270. VSTE's going, baby. Now it's just about how you weasel into this one, 69.5% with that $0.50 top. Be careful with this one, guys. As Adair told you, mostly insider owned, small float. I don't know what the short float is. We're going to check right now. VSTE. Negligible short flow, only 0.55%. So we'll keep tabs on this one, Satea.
Awesome. So I see some people having some different tickers in the chat. So someone said Amazon. And so this is looking pretty ugly right now. What I don't like about this Amazon trade is the fact that we have this wick here around 250. And so wick that level, which is around a psychological level. And I bet it probably is a strike price if I look on bar charts. So I'm just going to take a look at that. So I'm going to go to bar charts. And then I'm going to look for Amazon. And then we will be going to the options prices. Get away from the screen. Who is that? Okay, so yeah. So what was I looking at? I was looking at 250. Okay, so that isn't a strike price, but it still is like a psychological level. And so this is very distinct for me as well. We do have this uptrend here. It is breaking a little bit. So we do want to see, you know, a new candle close above around 200 in order for me to really be convicted in this long for the continuation of the long. But if I do see a break of this level around 199, then I think that it may be a short on Amazon here. But I just don't like the fact that it's kind of in this range. It's just, It's chopped around 197 and then 200. And so I don't like the fact that it's kind of in this middle as of right now. Just not really the best look for me personally. And so I really want to see a break of that 250 level or this break below VWAP around 198.87 for more, confirmation as to where it may go from here. And then I'm also looking at AMD here, so it's trickling down. It's coming down a little bit. We do have this double top here around 143.50, and so that is pretty distinct for me as well. Came up around 1030, rejected, came up again, couldn't break that level around 1130, and then we're coming down. And so what I am looking at, I'm still keeping my eye out on this bounce level around 141.84 or even around 140.130. But I think that if it breaks this level, then I'm going to scalp it out. And, for a couple of pennies, maybe 15, 20 pennies, if, depending on what I see on the tape, if I'm seeing some action that I don't like, then I'm probably just going to punch out, not going to give it too much room. But I think that if we can get below 141, and my entry price is 141.79, I do think that it can go to the downside, as Sharif would say. And we got to do that one. Down. Yes, let's go. And so that's what I'm looking at. How about
Crypto
you?
Queen.
Yeah.
Have you been watching crypto?
I have.
Okay, so we're moving. We're moving on
okay.
it.
I haven't looked at it today, actually.
I want to show what Neil just sent me, if I could, in a sec. This is basically Neil's screenshot of Neil's chart there on the daily for BTC. Reject, 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 reject again. Uh-oh. Did resistance just flip to support, Satya?
Ooh, yeah, that looks
where
very
did they write that? In all the technical analysis books. No, seriously though, guys, Neil, right down to 69,000. We literally wicked into 69 and then got bought right back up. We're back at 69,580. Crypto's in play. I was watching crypto, not for actually... not for BTC, I wasn't in an IBIT or anything, but I wanted to take something off coin at VWAP, so I was watching it for that purpose, and it breached, so I didn't have the play on Coinbase. But guys, keep your eye on Bitcoin specifically right now. It's down 0.5%, but looking awfully maybe bounce prone here. Yesterday, I think we closed out just below 70,000, the high 69.9, so we'll keep tabs on that. Separately, I did take a bit of a beak wetter here on ASPI. We got some out at 70s, looking to layer my orders onto this one. We'll keep eyes on this one. Mobileye continues to run, but still having trouble with the $0.50 there. MBLY looking for this one to breach 50, but this is going, guys. VSTE is a monster. The new high of days coming in fast and furious. I tried to punch in at halves. I didn't get filled, and my frugality got the best of me because I didn't want to chase it. I don't like chasing these. I mean, I set up into a resistance level, set up into a chart pattern. But hey, sometimes when these guys go, you just got to go with them. And right now, it looks like we're on our way to $4. Again, it won't let me in now. Now we get a little bit of a fill there. So we'll layer some orders. And yeah, we're going to keep tabs on this one. So it's zigging and zagging. You're going to have to give this one room. It's not just going to go in the direction that you want immediately, or usually it doesn't. There we go. We get the fill, Satya. So we're now, oh, that's not what I want to do. So now we're going to layer up orders possibly into the high 90s there to account for the volatility. And I'll just send it to you for a sec.
For sure. Yeah. So if you guys tuned in on Wednesday, and I was talking a little bit about Ethereum because someone was asking about it. And so if you look on that day on Wednesday, I did say if it broke VWAP, we may see 600, 550, or even 500. And where are we at? 500. Woo! So, I mean, not to glow, but I did call that. And so, that was a good look on that. So, you know what, though? I'm still not convinced of this bounce, though, because it still looks pretty weak. I want to see it get above 2,580, at least for Ethereum, in order for me to get convicted for the continuation. But what I really want to see, though, is at least a break of 2,700. I mean, if you are, a long-term investor, then getting in at these prices, I don't think, is terrible. But if we do break this 2,500, the next level that I'm looking at is going to be around this 2,340, call it 2,300 level. And so I think it is a little bit premature to be getting in because we still are on a downtrend. And I feel like we will test those levels just because with the election coming up and things like that, I think that there is a lot of uncertainty. So I feel like a lot of people will be offloading their bags. And then once the election comes, maybe we might see more stability there, whether Kamala or Donald Trump wins. So we'll see what happens there. But I think until then, it's going to be a sell-off. I wouldn't necessarily get too happy with this $2,500 level because even though it's wicking off of it now, I still don't see enough strong buying coming into this level. So that's my take on crypto. And then I'm going to go to my AMD level. So it's bouncing a little bit, but you know, I'm still not in it. I'm still waiting for that 141.79 level. And so I'm waiting for that to come into play because, you know, it may try to fake people out, but this is the level that I'm looking at, not getting in there prematurely, but it is, you know, wicking off of VWAP a little bit. Well, but we'll see what it does from there. So what else do we got here? Someone's saying DJT.
DJT.
So let's see what DJT is doing. So with DJT, okay, this is interesting. What is interesting about it is the bounce off of this low around 31.24. It is, you know, trying to bounce here around 31.83 and hold above that. I'm still not convicted in this trade for the long yet, though, just because we're still on this downtrend, but we're going to Adara.
Oh, my bad. I heard. My
okay.
bad.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm still not convicted in this trade as of right now. Right now, it wouldn't necessarily be, you know, in my playbook to get in as of right now, just because I don't necessarily know what it's really doing around here. I say that it may get up to VWAP and then trend down, but we're going to Adara.
Let's take a look here at this market. The Q is up more than 1%. Some higher highs, higher lows, but a bit more chop and churn here that compared to that initial gorgeous rally off the open. S&P 500 also up on the day here. We know the Russell's been strong as well. So these indices having a really great look. Despite a kind of shocking NFP number, we did have apparently non-farm payrolls 12,000 versus forecast of 100,000 there. It is worth noting that we had some downward revisions as well in NFP over the August and September. And we were expecting a bit of a lower number given the strikes and the hurricane situation. So it depends on if it's shocking or not, but certainly much lower there than expected for those non-farm payrolls. We also have a lot of earnings reactions on watch here, including AMZN. All eyes are still on Amazon and that Bezos blockade, Bezos brick wall, Bezos barricade, whatever you want to call it there. That is still preventing buyers from getting above that 200 level in any salient way. Getting price target increases here throughout the morning, including from BMO, Capital, Susquehanna, and Benchmark. Also here, this was not initially planned, I'm going to do it right now. DJT, I'm seeing some speculation on Twitter. New York Post releasing an article here. It's worth noting New York Post has not really provided any citations, but apparently people are speculating DJT might get bought out here by Elon Musk. This is pure speculation, I must add. New York Post citing this on the money. So potential circulation here of rumors that DJT could potentially be bought out by Elon Musk. We must clarify that these are rumors. Last but not least, VSTE here up 112%. I saw no catalyst on this, but increasing volume. It's been on all eyes have been on it lately, and it has a 2 million share float. So now with that in mind, we're going to pass you over to Neil. Make sure you vote for your tickers in the chat. Exclamation point join, space, $, and your ticker. Congrats to Sharif on that VSTE. And now let's hear what Neil has to say.
Your lesson of the day brought to you by VSTD. Whatever the heck that thing is, it is absolutely flying right now. So shout out to, I just like Sharif is going over and is like, oh my goodness, it's at 4. I look over and it's at 440, 10% move right there. But you know what? The lesson of the day, oddly enough, was stay in your lane. Be the trader that you are. Stick to your trading patterns. Stick to your rules because you can have success in a million ways. If you're a small, I have to pull up this chart. Sorry, guys. Let me just, look, what do you want me to do? We're live here. So VST is about to halt at $5. No, but in speaking of staying in your lane, if you're a small cap runner trader, okay, go into a halt, maybe. There it is, just halted at $4.99. No, if you're a small cap trader, if you're a gap and go type trader, then this is your baby right now. This is the one you want to be on. Clearly, it's making power moves. You see the acceleration in volume. You see the break of the even dollar. Clean 3-minute chart without a red in there. You get that parabolic move. This is your baby. You should be all over these types of names. And if you don't see one going, then you should be hunting for that next opportunity until you find one that fits your trading style. So with that, that's actually what the lesson is, staying in your lane in a sense, that you've got to be able to trade things that fit your plan. So away from VSTE and then back to the examples I was going to use, IBIT and Amazon. Now, if you guys, anyone that watches the show, you know I like trends and you know I like trend reversals. So you stick to your own execution plan. Now, for myself, I have a very simple strategy. You had afternoon resistance on IBIT. You were bouncing off of a support level on a pullback yesterday. So I wanted it breaking out that top. Simple breakout above here. Give it to the prior high. I did miss an opportunity to add, but that doesn't matter. And then play it from station to station. So when I zoom it out, I want to make sure that when it gets to this next stop, I'm scalping almost everything out into this level. Now, ultimately, it does a mean reversion, and I'm looking for longs off of VWAP, but then I take a long off of VWAP. I still like the general long, but remember, where's my resistance level? Clean stop out here. Now, you could make an argument that if I still like the long, yeah, but it bounced off your level. Enter, 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 get back in. But that's not how I roll. Why? Because I had a VWAP strategy retracement to a support level, and it did not hold VWAP. So this bounce, while holding my out, does not reestablish the trend back above the bid. So I'm not adding underneath just the fact that I like the long. I'm waiting for confirmation. And if it reverses, does a rounded bottom off VWAP and regains 40s, then I end up long 40-40 instead of the guy that's long 40-20 if that ends up retracing into the high. But that's my style of trade. Like, that's the way I would look at something. I would rather have a worse price but be in it on the way up than try to have the best price but have to try to catch a falling knife. And then when you look at something like Amazon, someone had mentioned in the chat today, give Amazon more room. Now, admittedly, okay, so this is gimmicky. When it got to 200, it basically went from, it did it like 3 or 4 times. Let me go to a 1 minute chart. It's probably easier to see on a 1 minute for you guys. Not even that much. So the first time it bounced off of 99s, it had pulled back and you had support here at 199.80. So scalp trade, 98s, 99s into 199.80. That's a very different trade. At that moment, I was completely convinced it was going to break out. And someone was saying, you got to give these things more room. You got to let them go. Well, to me, that 200 level was a gimmick level. I thought the big resistance was at 201.50. And when you broke 200, you were going to potentially get to that. But that same let's go with a tight stopped idea is exactly what allows me to go in for a VWAP trade, not lose much, take some profit out, do it twice again, get a bigger move. When it's higher lows, get aggressive out there, give it to that prior bar high, and again, still be up on Amazon at the time. And then when this breakout happens, now sometimes I'll take that breakout, get the bulk out on that first move, leave the third on, and I'll get stopped out, and then it'll go to like $205. Fine. That's not the way that I play them. And if you play it that way, then great. The days that it continues, you win, and the days that it pulls back, maybe instead of losing 15 cents, you lose $1.50. As long as that works out for you in the long run, you're fine. But you know where you run into trouble with that? If you try to be inconsistent and play it both ways. If you try to take the breakout with the tight stop on a setup like this one time, and you only scalp out for the small win, and then it goes huge, but then the next time you play it the other way, well, now you're just going to be muddling strategies, and your results are going to be skewed and just based on luck. Find something that works for you. If I am going to take it with a tight stop on that breakout trade and get the bulk out in the first initial move and then try to hold a smaller piece, then I need to do that consistently every single time. And then you can work to adding different strategies on top of that. Because if you're not consistent with your strategy, then something like what happened here in Amazon, and come back to the chart for a second here, then something like what happened here on Amazon is going to consistently catch you in between. If I do this every single time, I know that when it rinses into VWAP, I'm going to be profitable. I know that if it continues into 205, I'm going to be profitable, but I might not make as much money. If you're a trader that gives it the wide stop, then you know today you probably lost on Amazon. But then the time that it runs, you make sure that you're holding it enough that it pays for the time that you lose. If you're switching between strategies, well, then you might have the big hold on a day like today, and then you might have the tight scalp on a day when it actually runs. And then you lose both times. Well, that's nonsensical. You've got to stick to the execution strategy that has worked for you and that you have developed your plan on. You know the price that you want to trade at. You know the area to make a decision, but it's still up to you to come up with your entry and exit rules as to the style of trade that you were going to have. And I'll give you a perfect example, and I'll leave you with this one because it's always well and good to show, hey, this is the thing that worked, and I can look really smart about it. Well, I'll show you one where I didn't stick with the entry strategy, and I look like a fool. Because you know that if I'm looking for a short trade, what did I say? Rewind the tape in the morning show where I said 223 and 225 is where I want to look short on Apple. So Apple pulls in, tries to break 223. I actually showed some patience with the short, allowed it to get to that price, bounce off EWAP, put in a lower high, then I'm shorting it off of that lower high. Okay, so I was pretty patient with that entry. It ends up stopping out. Then it goes into 225. And so 223, break, lower high, get in. This time, you've got 225, break, lower high, wick high, and mean reversion trade, which is the favorite entry. Now, all of a sudden, you've got the same setup at the key level that you like, and on top of that, I've got there is the trend line, and there's, whoops, how did it just move? That's just weird. Anyways, and there is the break of the trend line. Now that I have to do that. And when it broke, it accelerated to the downside. It's the exact point of acceleration. That is exactly why I say stay in your lane. Because for me, if I'm looking at a short on a strong stock like that, I had multiple areas of confluence, and on top of that, one of my favorite entry setups, which is that trend reversal. So you stick to that, and then that would have been the best trade of the day for me. But it all comes down to identifying the things that work for you and then going out and finding those things out in the wild in the market and then executing as such. Because you don't want to lose money on something that doesn't make money for you. It's easy to say, but I've been doing this for 20 years. The overwhelming majority of people that fail in trading, and I'm not talking about 5% or 10%, I'm literally just ones that I've seen. Over 80% of traders that I have seen fail easily, and it's probably higher than that, put too much capital towards ideas that literally do not pay them, nor have ever paid them. That is a huge problem. It's almost everybody that does this that fails. I'm just being true. So when I say stay in your lane, and when you see me just stick to what I'm doing and try to, if it's, oh, you're too tight of a stop, you're not holding it long enough, just do what works for you. And that's how you can have a longer runway, and that's how you're able to then build on things. You got to build yourself a base first, then get that one way. And that starts with paying yourself on the ideas that work and not just trying to throw risk at everything else that doesn't. Stay in your lane and build from there. There's your lesson of the day. Good luck, everybody.
All right, well, I'm not allowed to say this anymore, but I'm going to do it anyway because today is one of those days that warrant it. Neil, the hotline dropper, that was a serious lesson right there. Woo. I mean, to me, the experience lessons are really the ones that I find a lot of value in. So shout out to Neil, man. I mean, he's eloquent always and just awesome.
I think it's so true that like people who have conviction, I think a lot of people make trading about the money, when in reality they need to make trading about the skill set and getting that skill set. What's sadly portrayed on the media is let's go learn trading because we want to make a lot of money, but we don't know that that's a result of us learning the skill set first. And I think if more people focus on the skill set, they would find the value or the money. And one of my mentors told me once a long time ago, he said, when I was getting into trading first, he said, money will always be faster than you. If you spend your whole life chasing it, you will never catch up. But if you leave a trail of value, money can choose to follow you. And that is super powerful. You know, bang, bang. Where's the bang? I need, yeah, just
I got you
bang,
back.
bang,
I
bang.
got you back.
So that was something that really resonated with me. And also on that side of what Neil said is, guys, just focus on the skill set. Don't risk the money. Don't blow up your account. Think of money as your way of surviving until you learn the skill set, right? It's just your time in the markets. It's your ability, your tries, your attempts you have left at learning the skill. Because once you run out of money, you can't trade anymore. And that means you can't really succeed. So survive until you build a base.
Thank you. And if you haven't noticed, Andrew Rader.
I'm on the desk.
He's here. and he's going to be trading with us for the next little bit. Thanks for coming on again, man. All right, I want to mention just a couple of things before we get on to the next trades here, Ram ASP. So I'm really happy with how I traded this one, but I've got a little bit left, and now we got a big boy candle of indecision. It's neither a topping tail nor a bottoming tail. But let me tell you, it can do whatever it wants with this tail. If it breaks that 50, and if more specifically, if it breaks this area trough over here and breaches that mid-40 prints, I'm gonzino on this one. I'm really happy with how it's gone. So I'm not going to give too much back. Now, by definition, I'm long 54s, 55s right now. If I'm going to get stopped out 46, I'm going to give a little bit back, and boom, there it is. You just got stopped out live in living color there for while you guys were watching. But I'm happy with how the trade manifested. I like how I moved up my my stop, excuse me. My stop was below the third of a dollar. I don't think that was accurate this time around. So we're going to keep an eye on this one if it wants to set up again. VSTE, man, I was so loving this trade before Neil started his lesson a day and a dare took us. So let me take you through this. As it was breaking out, I got in at mid-80s. It weaseled up to 4s. I took out the majority of the position at 4s. I lamented that because it was really tape teleportation, okay? There was a lot of tape teleportation, so I knew this one was squeezed. I added on the dip back into 4. Much bigger position at that 4. Bang, out, up all into the 450s, and then it went to 6. So leave a piece for the dream, people. Don't be like me. Don't take it out all, super quick. Leave a piece for the dream. If it comes back in and stops you out, fine. But at least you've got something to participate with if it continues to run. And as you saw there, it did. But now we got to pay some bills, Andrew. And I got to tell everybody about Firefly Neurosciences, which has taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Brightmind Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI-powered platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. So this data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for that phase 2 trial, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatments. So Firefly Neurosciences, baby, shaping the future of brain health. And before we send it back to Raider Trader, Ram, I want to show one other trade that I had over here, one that I'm the most proud of. MBLY. This one took a long time to manifest. I had a much bigger position in this one than I typically would have taken. The reason I did that is because it's not really a volatile name. So I knew that, this one's not really going to drop and pop 40, 60 pennies quick as you like on that. So I could manage risk a little bit better on it. And I wouldn't really have to kind of always be in that constant state of fear that the bottom was going to drop off. In any event, it has topping tailed now through the break of 65. I'm very interested in adding if it sets up in a new way. I like anything off the 10 exponential that holds. So 1540s, 15 mid-40s or so in and around here. And there was a nice little consolidation area. We couldn't immediately break through that $half level. So if we come back into the mid-40s, I'm all eyes and ears on this one, and we'll see what we get there. How's your day trading today, Andrew?
Good. I'm just looking at a few different things. Number one, I'm just going to reinforce this idea to you guys. TNX, we see TNX making a new high today. Again, this is not something I'm concerned with. Again, we mentioned that last week when I was on for Trader Talk or whatever it was, we mentioned that TNX was going to start its topping cycle. TNX yields, of course, these are highly related to bonds and an inverse relationship here. So as TNX goes, you typically see, of course, bonds start to tank, which is happening right now. There's a lot of bets in the market that actually 90 is going to be the bottom on TLT. But I'm not concerned so much about the level. I'm more concerned about the timing. You guys have to remember that the hardest part about trading is not direction. I say this every time, and maybe this is why I found success with options. It's actually timing that move you want, right? We all know an inverse head and shoulders is a bullish structure. We all know that means upside, but when that move happens, it might not always look the same. It might not just be as immediately when it breaks that. Now, I'm not certainly a pattern trader by any means. I don't think that's a core focus of my trading. But things like, for example, TLO, right? We talked about the timing of a move. This was a trade that I entered yesterday with you guys on the show. I'm still in this one. TWLO, and we mentioned this right before I went to lunch. I sold half my position at the high here, but it's continuing to run. And even at lunch, I sold entirety of ENPH. We talked about, well, you know, the risk to reward, right? If SPY's going to keep going up here, if SPY's going to keep rallying into that 574, we saw that flow that said, you know what, the risk reward above 574 to the upside is not that good. So when we talk about timing, when should I exit? When should I enter? Everything's about timing. When we hit that 574, now's the time, not the direction, now's the time to start positioning out. And we talk about the timing with the market in general, that once from 2 to 4, you know, you often get some sort of huge swing in either direction. And if we look at yesterday, that was kind of the case even, that, well, as soon as we started to come into the market close, we saw another change in dynamic. We saw that slowdown in that eventual flush. So whatever you guys are looking at, timing is so important. And I think that TWLO, I'm still along that one. Even Boeing right here, I'm still going to wait for this one. I don't think it's the right time to buy. I think you want to see a gap up Monday. Maybe if we have a strong close today, that we see a continuation on Monday. Historically, that's how it goes. But yeah, so looking at a few different tickers, I haven't pulled the trigger on anything yet since our last trade.
Love it, man. All right, for all my small cap gapper traders, baby, VSTE, here we go. It's volatile to say the least. Topping tail into 7 1/3. It dips back and literally to the T holds the previous halt level right at 6. Guys, chart the halt levels. They act as intraday areas of both support and resistance, and I see this over and over and over, and this is what I'm talking about right here, a bit cleaner of an explanation on the 5. So as you can see, this little dash there, that gray dash on your screen, that means it halted. In fact, let me go to the 1. I think we should be able to see it a bit better on the 1. So a couple of halts. First one, 5-minute halt. The second one, a 10-minute halt. We halted right at, it looks like 5.99, something like that, guys. Where do we open? How do we read candlesticks, right? Japanese candlesticks. If it's red, it's at the top of the rectangle that opened. The bottom is the close. So we opened at 6.91. Look where we wicked. Surprise, surprise, right off 6. So if you trade these small cap gappers, chart your areas of support and resistance, and there's the new high on VSTE, baby. 7 3/4, Raider. I mean, it's going 7.5 right now. There's a lot of strength and a lot of buying on this monster. It's what I love about these, and I really want to drive this home with you guys, because it really does make a difference. If the small cap gapper starts printing volume midday, it hasn't had its best trade behind it. It's not like a 7 a.m. trade where you're taking the scraps that are left and traders are no longer interested in it. If it's a midday mover, get behind it, especially when it's small cap gapper season. Thank you. But that's really all I want to wax poetic about, using a dare term. 281% right now on this monster, and we're going to look for it to set up a little bit differently. Now, I'm involved in another trade right now. This is a support and resistance trade, so I did really well on ASPI. I'm taking a quarter of the position that I took initially on this trade. Why am I even in this trade right now? Because it's a support resistance flip. Let's talk about it. So this bad boy had all sorts of trouble, as we can see here, the entire morning, breaking through that 8 1/4, 8 1/3, depending on really what you're looking at there. So it came back down into that level after printing that high of the day at 886. So I said to myself, look, if this is going to be if you're going to drop back into a previous area of resistance, the books say that sometimes it flips to support. So that's why I'm involved. We're at 835. We're printing 830s right now, so we're 5 pennies out of the money. This breaks that $1/5 of a dollar. I'm gonzino. But we're going to give this one the old community college try and see how it does. You haven't heard that one before,
I haven't.
Right?
That's a new one.
Yeah, CDXC as well, Ram. This one's holding up real well above the volume weighted average price. It's kind of doing that prolonged bull flag. 550 as the high. VWAP currently, guys, 513 on my chart. I'm playing this off VWAP, Raider.
Yeah, someone was asking in chat about CART. This was a scalp play. Since you already had a move at the highs, I didn't play the options. But I will say that something like CART is definitely bullish into January from a long-term perspective, if you want to call that long-term. It's only a few months. But something like CART is certainly ready for some sort of leap positioning. I think this one with, like, especially the Reddit theme, names breaking out, recent IPOs, all the recent IPOs, most of them have started to get a lot of traction. So that's, I think CART is definitely bullish, but not today. You know, earnings, all that stuff, I think positioning into something like that could be worthy. But right now, I'm not doing that. But as far as someone else asked, they were asking about RKK, I think. Yeah, someone was asking about RKK. So when it comes to small caps, I'll say this. I don't really think between ARK, I'll just call it ARK, between ARK and IWM, I actually do prefer IWM. Again, I can't say this enough, guys. This is like my, one day they're going to make a book and say Raider said 4.2. But when TNX goes below 4.2, that is my trigger to then start longing IWM and the TLT. Because of the relief it will give small caps and everything like that, you will certainly see a bigger thing off of that. So again, TNX yields, I expect those to top. And for you Forex guys or you people focused on the dollar out there, I do believe the dollar is in a topping cycle as well. Maybe another week or two on this max. I don't think it should be that long. But into that monthly expiration, you should start seeing the dollar break down. And the trade I'm associating with that for you swing traders is going to be silver. You have to be so patient with these. But silver, I think, is going to outperform to the upside. And I think gold will kind of slump with that. So gold and silver, both bullish, but I'm preferring silver with that one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think a lot of the...
I got a question for you, because you're talking Forex a lot, and you're obviously quite knowledgeable in this stuff. Are you worried about the rate hiking cycle dropping the DXY?
So that's kind of the, so when we talk about quantitative easing, we talk about quantitative hiking. Which environment does what for currencies? I'm not such a big guy that I'm going to make bets specifically on, okay, dollar's collapsing just because of rates. We know that, again, timing is so hard, but I'm more focused on, okay, if the dollar is collapsing, which it is expected to start to weaken, then what is going to benefit from a weaker dollar? And it's going to be those commodities, things like that. And, you know, you even saw earlier this year that silver started to pump, but silver started to pump with a strong dollar. So imagine a breaking down dollar, how much relief could come to these commodity names when you start to get that pump. So
well said, man.
Yeah.
I thought I'd get your opinion on that, because clearly you're good with that stuff. Guys, I'm really happy with this trade here on ASP. Pretty happy, Fabian.
Rejoicing.
I'm rejoicing. I'm elated. Why? Because resistance flipped to support. That's why I punched into ASPE at 835. I showed you guys why. That was that was the morning consolidation top at that 830 area. We punched in there again, 1, 2, OB thrice, and then into 55s. Now I'm gonna wait at 69. Because what's life without whimsy? And it's also basically a little bit below that consolidation area top that we put in at 870. So it just happens to work out quite nicely there. AS dang PI, a good look today, no doubt about that. Let's see if this bad boy wants to run. Now let's flip back to VSTE, because this one's all the hype. We got a topping tail at $8, guys. $8 on the dot. And the candle that opened subsequent to it is a bit of a bearish engulfing. It's ensconced by the highs and the lows of this candle over here that we printed at 1220. The candle I'm referring to that's being ensconced is that 1225 candle on the 5-minute on VSTE. So let's see if this one, number one, does it dip back into 6? We know 6 was initially support after the halt. Does it dip into there? And if it does it bounce again? The other question is, if it doesn't dip into 6 and it's not currently doing that, do we get consecutively higher lows? So we know we're not going to get, well, we don't have a higher high quite yet on this 1225 candle, but what we do have is a 3-candle higher low. So what does that mean to you? That means buyer exuberance, buying it up incrementally higher and higher and higher, and that kind of puts the odds in our favor here that the buying will continue. It's never foolproof, guys. Never want you to think that. So VSTE, definitely keeping my eye out on this one. Super interested in if it sets up properly, but it's going to have to set up properly. Now, it's weaseling back into 7. Look at the tape fly there, bro. Look, a beautiful dip into 630. Now we're almost at 730. The volatility is here. It's fast. It's furious. Be ready to trade this, number one, with the requisite size that you can, based on your account and based on your trading experience. And as well, make sure you've got levels, resting stops. If you're not going to put, hard stops, then make sure you're the type of person that's going to commit to the stop and not DCA and DCA and DCA and then find yourself really underwater. So that's the look. Now back to ASPI. It looks like that 855 for the moment is the top. It dipped back into 850. I've moved up my stop from that 815 that I had it at. I'm going to put it essentially right below 30. 829, 828. Why? To account for this area trough. My move is it's got to hold up at this area. I'm not looking at DCAing, so if it doesn't hold up here, my trade's incorrect, and I'll be gone. Hey, Davis, thank you, my man. Great job on ASPI. I appreciate you. Hey, Davis, let me know how you were looking at that, or if that was your look as well. Adam, Tesla declining. Breath up and short after lunch hour. Let's have a look at Tesla. Adam, I haven't looked at the mag at all, nor the mag, nor the future on the day. It's been small cap gapper season. That's just kind of how it is. Now, they all look really ugly, Adam. What the hell is this? Like, I'm not to you, obviously. I love you, Adam. But, like, I mean, the mag just look, yeah, it's not my cup of tea, except if you're Microsoft. Microsoft seems to be trending, but coming down off the highs, that 415. Yeah, this ain't my cup of tea today, man. I'm staying away from the mag, but it looks like you're looking at Tesla there. We breached yesterday's low. Oh, Ram says, did you say cup of tea because it's Adam? Obviously referring to your British heritage there, of course. You tea or coffee guy?
I'm a tea guy.
You're a tea guy.
I think, yeah.
Any specific tea you like?
I like green tea.
Hey.
Or what do they call it? Guava tea or?
Did you ever get that matcha thing? Yes.
Oh. Green, isn't it like green?
Yeah,
whatever that is.
Yeah. That's why I thought of it when you said green tea, right?
Yeah, I do have one thing to mention for you guys. So if you want to talk about timing, one of the best ways to do it, again, is with the options market. The options market is incredibly good at timing, not just the information it gives you, but the asset itself. It rewards timing. Of course, you buy time, you get leverage on that asset. But one thing that I typically look at is this is really cool. If you guys know the PC ratio, so this is the put to call ratio. It's puts divided by calls. So the higher the number, of course, the bigger the numerator, aka the puts. And so what you see here is actually really interesting. You see a gap down below 0.5999. Now, here is something that you can kind of do here. Let me just show you guys this. If we pull up PC right here, boom. These are kind of the levels you want to pay attention to on the PC ratio. So this right here is this top section around the 0.89. This is what we call where puts are starting to get expensive. This is the kind of imbalance zone, if you will, that people start to pile into calls, not calls. They pile into puts where puts are expensive. Again, a market the options is a market, and the more buyers, the higher they're going to charge. The more demand, the higher they're going to charge. So everyone's insuring up here. When a market is hedged, when everyone in a market is hedged, it is impossible to crash. If 2008, if everyone was hedged, 2008's market crash wouldn't have happened then when everyone was hedged. And there's mechanics to market, truly. Fundamentals aside, technicals aside, there is mechanics to how markets work. Momentum, things like that. There's physical mechanics. I talked about this the other day that, the meme stocks. There was a point in time when the evaluations of these meme stocks were ridiculous. Why is that? They're not worth that on paper. They're not a fundamental company. It doesn't matter because there are mechanics to markets. People were getting squeezed. When people get squeezed, shorts cover. Cover creates more buying, et cetera, et cetera. So it doesn't matter what the fundamentals say. It doesn't matter necessarily what things like that happen. So specifically with the PC, if you guys want to screenshot this, the 0.89 is kind of where we have it as an extended. Down here is when calls are super expensive, and here's where you want to start to look at puts. These are where the puts are the better risk to reward trade. Now, specifically today, I want to outline this. This is how I kind of timed a short as well on that SQQQ. I started to talk about it. But whenever you get over this 0.69 level, you can see we kind of got around here we can find a specific time here. When we get over this 0.69 level, once we gap under it, once the markets climb back up to this 0.69, this is a tipping point. It's the point on the seesaw where you start to get a lot of that bearish pressure back. And so right around 0.69, you can see we hit this around 755. And if we go to SPY today and we go to 755, you will see this was almost on that second top. This is when we started to form that double top or started to reject from the high. So this was an early sign. And again, it's a leading indicator. This was an early sign that selling pressure was going to return back to the market. Once again, timing is everything, guys. And yeah, so that's where we're at today.
This is amazing. I didn't even know about this put call ratio thing on PC.
Yeah,
This is sick, dude.
It works in alongside with VIX. So those are two
I'm
based off the
definitely
options premium.
keeping my eye on this.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm going to put that beside the VIX because that is super important. Another thing that I had here, I don't know if you got this as well, market statistics, where you have like advancing issues, declining issues.
Is that tick or?
It's by the tick. It's literally doing by the, or no, I've got it on my platform here.
Oh, you
I can't
do?
show it
Okay.
because of they're not a sponsor, but
Okay.
yeah, it's interesting there. Robbie V, Sharif, check ATHA daily for breaks 0.71, then big gap to fill. Absolutely. Let me have a look at that. ATHA, not E. ATHA, Ram. That's the one. Ooh, okay. We just took out some highs here. Most notably, we took out the pre-market high. So now you got my attention. And we're also above the IB high, the implied balance high. Shout out to Dan, the Dang Man Emmons. As well, this was a runner yesterday. Shout out to you, Robbie V. Good call out. You know I'm not going to have eyes on this because it's not 85 pennies yet. And if you've been watching the show for a hot minute, you know I filter my scanner for everything south of 85. So we're going to put the ticker on, and we're definitely going to watch this. So now I'm going to have to load this up on a trading screen to get a better understanding, I should say, of the, I don't want to take off CDXC. Mobilize breaking down. VST, I'm going to have to take off the futures over here, Ram, because, well, we're not trading the futures today. Here we are. Let's have a look at the tape now. So zigging and zagging with 70. 70 is a bit of a top right now. It's 70.86 as the high of the day. I'm talking about 70 pennies, 0.8 sell, whatever. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. Now, what I want to see is, does it hold that 67, 65 area? Why am I looking at that area? Well, those are the peaks that we put in earlier. Now, we didn't get so far away from them that I think that we can account for them as support at the moment. 66 pennies is where the closing prints are generally, that high 65s. I want to see if it holds up there. I'm not going to be first. I don't need to be first. This one can squeeze into the dollar. By definition, that gives me about a 30% upside if I get long at 70, right? So let's see if the buyers step in and around 65. If they do, then I know they're looking at what I'm looking at, right? Again, I want to say this because I think people need to wrap their mind around this, right? You're not a market mover. You are a market observer. So if the buyers are not stepping in, the buyers of note, the buyers with weight, they're not stepping in at the level that you like or that you've earmarked, you stepping in there is not going to move the needle. So I need them to step in there first. And so far, Ram, they kind of did because they bought it a little bit off 66. But we're looking at the 1 minute chart right now. Let's not put too much stock into what the 1 minute says. So I'm going to pack my patience here. I want to see a couple of green candles, maybe multiple bounces off that 66, 65. I'll get in, man. This is a good looking stock. It's got all the check marks right beside its name. Now let's find out why the hell it's moving. Oh, we're going to find out other information, though, from Adair, who's at the big desk.
Okay.
We're going to take a look here at some of these small caps. I apologize. One of these is not a small cap, and two of these have been cribbed there from Sharif's trades. Lots of these smaller tickers on watch. But we're going to start here with the IWM, which is still up on the day, but definitely still finding some resistance at 222. This time we didn't even get to 222. We got to 221. Now potentially a little bit of a V-shaped retracement on watch here for that Russell 2000. We have AMSC first here, American Semiconductor, just over a $1 billion market cap. They reported earnings, beating on earnings per share and sales here. They also had a bit mixed guidance, but clearly market participants responding positively as AMSC pushes into new day's highs with a 7.15% short float. We also have VSTE. This is Vast Renewables. I'm seeing no catalyst on this, but interestingly enough, even with the halts, a bit of a bull flag forming on Vast Renewables here. No catalyst, like I said, but there was a catalyst in this one on Tuesday. So we do have some traders watching this ticker. It's run in the past and it's run pretty recently with a 2 million share float. Last but not least, forgot to put it up there, but Mobileye on watch here, MBLY. They had earnings there on Thursday morning, so it's a day 2 earnings move for MBLY. Also could be some Intel sympathy. And Mobileye is a 22% short float, so that one certainly can move. Congrats to Sharif there on that VSTE and MBLY trades. And if you guys are looking at these or any other tickers, make sure to vote. ! Join, space, $, and whatever ticker you're looking at on this market today, guys.
Dara, Andrew, what are you looking at, my man?
Right now, I'm looking at this right here if you guys want to check this out. So this is, again, we mentioned this before. This is just a cool tool I use. It's on Optima, Bloomberg Terminal, all that stuff. But this is the RG charts, and it kind of does display rotations in a really easy to know fashion. I know I'm familiar, if you're with the markets long enough, you'll know what's rotating, what's not. But this right here, you can see the money. Again, we talk about this all the time. Firms do not sell positions. It's not like they're taking profits and they're stuffing their, they're doing a money spread on their Instagram story. They're not doing that. Okay, so what they are doing though is they're reallocating. They're taking funds, and it's not physically a human all the time. It could be just an algo rebalancing. Trust me, I've seen it all before. I know the guys are doing this. They rebalance these big portfolios, and when they rebalance, it's based off certain metrics, etc. So what we're getting right now is actually a rotation into what? Well, let's look at the tickers. Swinging into improving here, you have names like XLP, XLRE, XLU. These are all what? Defensive names, defensive sectors. You also have value, things like that. And what are you getting a rotation out of? Growth. So what's happening is they're dumping growth into defensives. This is a bad sign if you're a bull, because if a market's going to go up, you don't want to see this. So whenever you see this, and this is a leading sign, this is a leading indicator, it does kind of give you an idea of, okay, what should we go check now? Well, we can go check what stocks are going. So right now, I have an alert set out on Walmart to long Walmart for a quick play into the end of the day. There is a defensive rotation, and I want to capitalize off this. If the market's going to start to downturn again, they're going to start pouring into defensives before they pass this torch off and dump it. So Walmart, and then the other name I'm going to be watching alternatively is PG. So these two defensive names I'm watching right now.
All right, we got into AFA at 69s and one beak wetter 71, 73, 74. Now I almost got 75. It is likely going to reject off 75 because this is an area of psychological support or resistance in this case. Sorry, I'm just trying to concentrate. So let's see, here we go. We're zigging and zagging with 74. I'm waiting at 75s. I'm not dropping it below that. I don't think I'm first in priority, because my order just went out. But before I yap about this one, you wanna give anybody any closing ideas? Because Satya's gonna.
Oh yeah. So she's coming back. Raider's gonna go sit at the desk. But for you guys, what I would watch into the end of the day, be very, very careful. We have flow to suggest that we are going to close under 574 today. Okay, so that was the flow I talked about at lunch hour, that we have a bias to close under 574 today. So be mindful of that. Now, specifically with the walls, if you look at them on SPY, right here, well, we'll talk about this first. Boeing as well, I'm bullish on Boeing. I believe this one's gonna do well, but I digress. SPY right here is this one, 1115. You can see we are coming up to kind of this 575 area, and I think we'll close somewhere within here today, and then maybe Monday we get a little continuation over 575, given that we have a positive close. But I think 574, somewhere around here, it's going to get a little choppy, a little ugly, but I'd be mindful of that. Guys, right now, again, Walmart and Procter & Gamble, PG, I'm watching these to the long side. The Walmart trade, I have my idea set at around 82.27 as my trigger, and then the last idea is Boeing and KO. These two also, I'm looking too long into the close on any strength. I'll set alert for 154.83 for myself, but that's it, guys. That's
all right, I need to, before you go, hey, Davis, loving what you have to say. Raider has such good data. How can we keep him in the mix? People want to know how they can get in touch with you, dude.
Well, you can find my socials. You can also get in touch with me. A lot of the stuff we're going to do in the future is pretty cool.
Isn't that on the bottom right there?
That is right down there. If you see Raider Trader 101. And if you guys want to do more specific, my ideas all the time, if you want to see what I'm trading, things like that, I did start a platform. This is all hand-built by me. It's called the Raider Report. This is where I post my weekly ideas and my weekly trades. So this week, it was a lot around rotations, things like that. So I give a very thorough analysis of the markets and my specific trade ideas. But that's it. That's how you can get connected with me. Of course, Trader TV, you'll always see me sprinkled in here some way. Whether it's be talking with Sharif or,
we love having you on, brother.
Some of the most attractive hosts named Sharif are in the building right now.
Oh my God.
So you don't get many hosts named Sharif, and you don't get many as good looking as him. So
I appreciate you.
And whoever sponsors Real Trading should be paying more for these ads or these platforms, because not only are they getting hosts to read it in front of thousands of people, but Sharif. I mean, you don't get many like not Forbes, Vogue magazine. Is that it? Vogue.
You're killing me, dude.
He's on the cover of Vogue.
Rear end right now, bro. Come on now.
The glaze.
Come on
now. The glaze.
I appreciate you, Andrew, man.
Yep.
Great guy.
All right, guys.
All right, we're gonna get.
I'm getting out of here.
Appreciate you, Andrew. He's gonna be at the big desk with Adair. He's gonna be coming in hot when he sees something. So don't go anywhere. Andrew Rader isn't. He's gonna be hanging out with us for the rest of the day. I waxed poetic about this guy yesterday. I'm not gonna belabor that again, but the dude's obviously very advanced for his age. So hey, Davis picking up on that. Everybody picking up on that. Not really surprised. Ram, I need to show my chart for a second, please. So what's happening right now on She's such a troll. What's happening right now on ATHA, Ram, is that we dipped big boy off that 75 touch and bump. So that's not that kind of touch, but that's what's happening right now. I put my out below 66 pennies to account for the area resistance. What do you mean by that, Sharif? Well, we worked our way up into 66, couldn't take it. Now, look what we're doing. We cleared 66, and now we're bouncing off it. So to me, the line in the sand was 66. Maybe I'm wrong about that. You're not going to see me adding into here. Now, what I will do is if it weasels back above 70, hold 70 as support, I'll add more. Why is that? Well, when we broke 70 to the downside, we couldn't break 70 back to the upside again. Here comes 66. I'll flatten out if I get anything below that, especially if my stop doesn't trigger. So what I'm looking for is a break and take of 70 and a hold. Now it does look like it's actually going to breach 66 as the volume comes in aggressively to the downside here. So that's why we de-risk people. Oh, that's not what I want. That's why we de-risk people. Take your profits. Neil always says this, nobody ever went broke going profit. Nobody ever went broke taking profits. I'll get it right. And I just got stopped out there, so sucks. But yeah, it's profitable trade. Happy with how I did it. I'll get back in if it sets up again. Satya, welcome back.
Welcome. Thank you for Andrew for spitting those hot lines. Yeah, follow him on social media. He has some great stuff for you guys, so for sure. So we're going to Adair, I guess.
Sorry.
You're going to keep an eye here on BOIL and a lot of these other oil names, USO, everything. We have BOIL basically at low of days here. Apparently we have Russia and Kazakhstan committing here to these OPEC plus production cuts. So some oil production stories on watch here, guys.
Jay Lee, where are you, Jay? We need you, Jay. No, Jay Lee's a guy in the chat. He's always trading nat gas. So anytime nat gas thing going on, I want his opinion. So
yeah.
You were about to start talking about that.
Yes. So I was looking at AMD as of right now. So I was waiting for the break of this level around 141. 88. I mean, I put my trigger at 141.79, but I'm still liking the look of that, and so I got in a little bit early. I got in at 79s, and so I did get in at 79s. Okay, great, good for me. And so yeah, I'm waiting for that short as of right now. Someone in the chat was saying it's a long, but I'm going to stand firm that this is a short. So that is what I'm looking at. And so how about you, Sharif? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at ATHA, same thing. I just weaseled in here, try to hold this. We're going to give it really tight room. Because look, it was bouncing off 66 and it worked back to 68. So I've taken half the position I took initially on this one, but it does seem like that selling is still coming in here at 66. So we're going to keep a close eye on this one. Now, I should also let you know that the 10 exponential on the 5 is 65.08. So there is other areas of support, not just price action support there to account for. So that the area initially that we rejected off was 6.6, and now here we go again with 6.6 though. I don't want the bottom to drop off here and have to use the flatten key. It does hold that 10 exponential. It still hasn't printed anything below that 10 exponential, but there's a first time for everything, baby. And this one could be coming in right now as we dip again below that 10 exponential. So this one doesn't look like it's going to hold. This one looks like it was a fade off 75. I've already put my stop in. Let's see if this one wants to hold 66 or what. There's a lot of chop and churn right now at 66. Unsurprised by that though, because there's a level that we did earmark. For the moment, it does look like it's holding up, so we didn't get pushed out. But what I'm not getting is newer highs, right? So that last little ascent that we got up there, that's 68. I'm going to need more than that, right? It's not about lower lows. I'm long, right? So we need, or about lower highs, we need higher highs. So let's see if we can weasel up above 68. I'll layer my orders out at above that level to account for that area, but we'll see exactly if this can break 68 or not when we get back from Adair, who's at the big desk with D-Trade the Pool.
This part of the show is brought to you by Trade the Pool. Trade the Pool allows traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital with no PDT rule holding you back. That's a real edge in trading. Here's the exciting part. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for stock traders. For a one-time fee of just $97, you'll receive $20,000 in buying power. All you need to do is reach the profit goal. The best part? This limited edition program now has a reduced profit goal and fewer minimum trades required to reach the funded phase. Plus, the profit split is upgraded. Keep 70% of the profit. Don't miss the chance to explore this limited offer. Join now for free. The link is in the description.
Yeah, so it's still waiting at that 68. It looks like as if that is acting as resistance right now, Satya. 68 pennies there or thereabouts. You know, when we get under a buck, we're always talking to 4 decimal places. So I'm not going to say 68.59. You guys will get it. Boom! Popped up there in a 69. We didn't get the 70 print though, Satya. I don't know why. There was a wall of sellers at 70. We're still waiting at 70. Let's see if we can get some more. It popped up though. We knew 70 was going to be a resistance level just based on how it had traded earlier at 70. And here it is again. And we're selling at 70 again. So we're going to have to whiffle and waffle with this level until we take out that seller. And that could be soon because there's a lot of buying here. Let's see if we can cross 70. 70 showing up again on the ask over here, but we're going to have to cross. And there it is. We cross. Let's keep going, baby. Let's keep going. We're going to set up at 74s because what's life without whimsy? That's where we took it out last time. We'll see if this one wants to pamp the high side.
Pamp. So yes, so I'm still having my eye on this AMD trade. I was a little bit scared for a second just because I saw a little bit of a pop-up here at this level around 141.86, and I was a little bit nervous because there was a little bit of a bounce there, but the trade is starting to work, and so I am still convicted in this trade. So that looks really good. I have my take profit at 141.54, so around here. So around at this level, so looking to take profits around there, not necessarily waiting for the bottom, but maybe might see a little bit of a lick grab there, get to that level, and then pop up possibly. But that is what I'm looking at in terms of AMD. And then something else that I was looking at is Amazon. And I thought this was really interesting as well. As I said before, you know, Andrew came on, this distinct rejection off of $200.50 rather, was very interesting. Strong wick up there, couldn't get up there. Now we're below VWAP, which is really interesting. And then what I like about this trade and what I like about this setup is the fact that it's consolidating below VWAP. And so this is really interesting as well. But I feel like the confirmation for the short really doesn't come in until 197, around 197.60. And so that is what I'm looking at. And then in the chat, I see Nessa saying Google at these levels. What y'all think? Let's look at Google. Google. Oh my gosh. Google. Okay, sweet. Yeah, this is really interesting. Really like the look of that. What I see right as of now is it's trying to break above this day's high as well as this pre-market high. So this looks really strong. Like this nice uptrend here. I feel like your play is like, what are you doing with this? Are you, day trading? Are you swing trading? I feel like if you're day trading, this is a really good look as well. The breakthrough of this high is what I would be looking at personally. Or you could wait for a little bit of a dip buy around 171.50. I think that is a good look as well. But this looks good, pretty good and pretty strong as well. And so I like the fact that we had earnings a couple of days ago. We had earnings on October 29th. And so, when the earnings came out, it did retrace a little bit, but it looks like the volume is starting to pick up here on Google. So that looks like a really good look.
Yeah,
as well
that's a really good look. That's like the best looking in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to you, Nessa. Thanks for bringing eyes on that. That looks really, really good as well. And then someone's saying Sebastian. Oh, sorry, the name is Sebastian. What was Satya's costume yesterday?
I was just about to tell you that. Yeah, I was like, you got to answer that question.
I actually didn't dress up. This was the first year that I was just kind of in the house, just trading,
Sure.
And so, I didn't dress up this year. Last year I was a police officer.
Hey.
But I don't know, maybe we might do something this weekend. I know that it's technically like Halloween's over, but I like to extend Halloween until the weekend. It's not done until the weekend is over, right? And so, I don't know what my costume may be. I'm thinking about being a pumpkin, to be honest. I don't know, it's kind of random, but I think it's cute. And so that's what I may dress up as this weekend. And then someone's saying AAPL. So let's take a look at that. That is.
Are they going to nap?
That is not.
They want a nap? Is that what they're looking at?
Yeah, they're looking to just snooze. This does not look good, to be honest. The volume is not really here. Like since 10:50, it's just been consolidating around this area, which I don't necessarily like. If you're going to do the Mag 7, you might as well just do Google. That is like, you know, the volume really is there. Or if you're looking at other Mag 7, possibly Meta, that has a little bit more, you know, steam there. And so what I like about Meta as well is it's holding up above VWAP. And so it broke this trend a little bit, but it didn't extend and break VWAP, which I like. So I still think that the long is still in play. I would be a little bit worried in terms of the volume, so I would probably wait for the break of that pre-market high. But I would say Google is one that is really moving right now. So shout out to Nessa for bringing that to our attention. And I would say that would be a better look than AAPL, because Apple, yeah, you might just be sitting there all day waiting for something to happen, and your money is better spent just, you know, looking at other tickers, looking at things that are moving. So if you're day trading, just leave that on the side today. Let her sleep, let her rest, and then, you know, you can pop in on Monday and see what she's doing then. And then Adrian is saying NVIDIA going down. Let's look at that. You guys know I love me some NVIDIA. Ooh, this is a nice play. Thank you for that. I love this. So this looks like a nice breakdown for the short. So I think I'm actually going to jump in this, actually. I'm going to get in around 135.80. So I'm looking at that. So I'm just going to put my level there. So NVIDIA, come on, NVIDIA and Q. And then I'm going to put my level at 135.80, gonna cross about, you know, let's give it 5 pennies, and then 135.70, and then I'm gonna put that in there. So got that in there, and then what else do we got in the chat? Oh, I put something in by accident. QQQs, did not mean to do that. But I'm just gonna push it over to Sharif, and I'll get back to you guys.
Let's have a look at what VSTE is doing, because it's setting up like a bull flag right now. Lower highs, obviously, off that $8 touch and drop. But now we're at 659. The thing is, we're putting in higher lows as well. So it's not just a symphony of lower highs, but we've also got that higher low. So we're compressing, right? Compression pattern. This is what, you know, sometimes we call a bull pennant. You got that big move up, and then you've got the pennant, sort of. That's the compression, or, you know, whatever. And so I don't want to use these trend lines as lines in the sand. Oh, if it breaks above this, then I'm going long. I'd rather it close, right? I'm not going to care so much about the wicks. So I wait for the candle to decide how it wants to trade. Does it want to close decidedly above these trend lines? And then I'll get back in. So by extension, or by virtue of adopting that technique and that process, you're not going to get the best price. So you're going to have to wait for others, obviously, to manifest into the stock and push it up or down, or however you're going to take it. And then you'll take the price that the candle closes at. So that's what I'm looking at right now. VSTE, it's awfully strong. I'm in a position, though, right now on ASPI and, what's it called? ATHA. Now, the ASPI position, I think I'm going to take this out soon because we did quite well on this, but now it's coming into this area of consolidation. And I was like, all right, well, you know, it hasn't stopped me out. Everything's fine, this, that, and the other. Let's talk about this one, though. Oh, where the hell is it? There it is. Okay, so this is the position that I'm in. It's obviously found some support, and this is why we got into it earlier at this 830, right? I mean, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then finally on the 7th candle at 1125, we broke through 1130 decisively. Then surprise, surprise, we get up to 880, 890 essentially, and then we're using 830 as support, and we're still doing that because we're in the 40s right now. So I said to myself, look, if you got in because that 830 was support, then so what if it comes back down to it? It's got to breach support for you to take it out. So I don't have a whole lot left. I'm going to pack my patience. In fact, if it does dip into 830 and does a big boy hold and then makes a new high, I'm adding to the position because that's going to be what I want to see. the recycling of that support level, and then the making of a new high, and not just one thing. So keeping my eye out on ASPI to see if this bad boy wants to hold. Simultaneously, I've still got that position that I weaseled back into on ATHA, ATHA. It's holding the 10 exponential. In addition, this is the closing print on both these crests. This isn't by accident that we're holding up at 65, guys, right? Once, twice, and then OB thrice over here. Right? I mean, the fact that we closed at 65 multiple times and then we've been holding up at 65s for the better part of 20 minutes cannot be by accident. All right? So you got to base these trades off, recycled levels. At least that's how I do it. So that's what I'm looking at here. But the thing is, Ram, it's not going. So yeah, great. It's holding up, Sharif, at 65. Fantastic. You bought at 65 and then it's not moving up. Well, the idea is to hold until either the level breaches or weasels back up. Now, I've already been able to scalp a little bit off this bad boy here on ATHA. Let me bring in the screen. Where is it at? That's the last one. Yeah, we've been able to weasel out. So we got into here, took out some, and then it dipped back into 65s or 66s, excuse me. If it curls back up, then I'll see what I want to see. But if it doesn't, then I've already got my stop and play here on ATHA, and we're already positive on it. And based on where my stop is, I can't go negative on it. I just got stopped out. So perfect time.
Oh, man.
It's okay. I'm positive on it. I'm good.
Okay, being stopped out, it's not bad in all cases. It protects you. And so what I was looking at is this AMD. So this AMD is bouncing off of this level, so I had to pop out of that. That is looking bad. So gonna get out of that. I guess my stop did not trigger, so I'm just gonna get out of that. And then what I was looking at is NVIDIA. So that NVIDIA did trigger. And so let's see what's going on here. So I got in at 135.78. And so, we have a little bit of a bounce here at 135.65. I'm going to wait for this, to cook. I don't want it to get above this level around 136.22. If it does get to that level, I'm just going to get out as of recent. And then if it does go back below this level around 135.64, then I would look for a potential to get back in, But I think that as of right now, if it does go above VWAP, then this is not the look right now, and I will just get out there. And then someone is saying GSAT, so let's take a look at that. GSAT, okay. So with this, it retraced around 1154, got a little bit of retracement there, and then we are heading back above VWAP, which I really like. And so a little bit more confirmation for me is the break of 150. I really want to see it break above that level because I think before someone mentioned this and I said, post around 151, 152 because we want to see a break of that level. And if you got in early, right at 150s, you would have been in drawdown at this level. But I think that it tried this level, couldn't break down too heavily here. We do have this hold around 133, and then we are coming up. And then if we can come up to this $150 mark again, around 151, still 152, then I think that getting in heavy, because listen, I think the expected value when it comes up to this point at a second time, it really increases. And a play that is, that I've been working on as well is like the 2 VWAP touch. It makes this base and then it's ascending up towards VWAP and it's holding above VWAP. And so I really like that as well. I don't necessarily want to get in here. Usually, yes, I say that, as close to VWAP as possible. But in this case, I want more confirmation at that 151 level. And if it can break that 151 level, I would be going hella heavy at that level. And so that is what I'm looking at. And then someone is saying DLR short. Are you guys talking to me? Oh, going to Andrew.
Hola. Okay, so other than this being a Spanish trading channel now, we are actually going to look at one setup, and this is a small lesson for you guys. One of the favorite technical setups. Now, I don't consider myself a pattern trader. I really look at the mechanics of the market, how it works, how's its relationship with the underlying, the options market, things like that. Again, we talked about that GameStop was once an incredibly overvalued company, but why did the market do that, right? It doesn't make sense that, well, if a market is truly efficient, then why is it that a market wanted to go above over evaluation so much? That's why I don't really consider patterns all that much. However, this is a structure I do look for, and it's called a market maker cycle. And so what this chart right here shows, and I'll kind of blow this up so it's a little easier to see, but this right here is what we call a classic bottoming cycle. You guys should all know out there in the audience, you experience technical analysis pros, which I all know you are, the Wyckoff theory. You typically get some sort of accumulation and distribution, right? And in that accumulation and distribution, you should see a fake out to one direction, and then it actually go to the opposite direction. In an accumulation, you expect a fake out to the downside and back to the upside. Well, I got news. Wyckoff theory is somewhat outdated. And so in today's world, you actually have a bottoming cycle that looks like this. You actually get two fake outs, one to the upside and one to the downside for max pain. And so this structure right here, you can screenshot, take your phone, boom, get the screenshot out. I talk a lot about this on my own socials, things like that. And even several times, several trades I've talked about on here, trading on Trader TV. But this right here, we have a spring. This is the slow consolidation out of a channel. And then you have a max pain. Once you get out of here, it's not guaranteed, ignore that, but it is highly likely that you come back up and you break the spring high. Now this ticker right here, Adobe, is heavily beaten down, and we look to have what seems to be a max pain structure here, and then also a spring coming out of this channel right here, right? And so that is what we consider to be a nice bullish setup. With earnings next week, I'm actually bullish Adobe. If we have a strong close today, Friday to Monday rule, play the continuation on Monday into Tuesday because you carry over to the weekend, guys. Back to you.
Ram. Bro. Raider. Do you know this game?
Max pain. No, what? What?
Yeah, it's
Is that a real thing?
It's old, bro. It's old, but yeah, it is.
No, PlayStation 2 is before me, man.
That's like the last video game system I ever.
How long was the PS4
Yes, I
out?
remember you
Wasn't the
saying-
PS4 out like 10 years?
I don't know.
It was out so long.
All right, guys, I got stopped out of the last little bit here that I've got on ASPIs. It did breach that 830. So as I told you guys, the 830 level was kind of my line in the sand. It's the reason why I got into the trade, and it should be the reason I get out. Again, so that is my look there on ASPI. But here's the thing about ASPI. The volume weighted average price is awfully close to the current price action. So we're at 8 1/4, give or take 8 1/3. VWAP is at 812. So there could be an entirely different setup trade right now at VWAP if it is to make its way down there. Now, I'm not going to have a resting order at VWAP either. I'm going to have to watch it get down there, hold, and then get it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say. And then what? Why are you laughing?
I don't know. It's just kind of a funny saying. I don't know.
Yeah, he says it. He says it. Yeah, we all know what it means, but Satya is like pushing us in a different direction over here. What'd you say, Ob? That's the best side of the move. And who are we talking to over here? Yeah, Miss, look at that body. And did you hear his little comment today?
No, I
You
missed it. Yeah,
He's
I was
like,
talking to
oh,
Baby.
girl, look at that body.
That
He's
body
talking to the
candle.
candles. I'm like,
Ooh.
what is happening? Get it, Ob. We love you, Ob.
You funny guy.
Ob is, he's solid. What do you got over there, Steph?
Yes. So I was looking at. Oh wait, hold on. I'm going to punch out of this AMD.
Can I
because
just,
that triggered-
can I look at Big Spile Super Chat
Yes.
while you set up?
Yeah, for sure.
Big Spile dropping the cash as he usually does in said chat. $4.99. We're going to thank Big Spile for that. If you didn't play Max Payne and skip school to have Tony Pro skater tournaments, you ain't no trader. The dude's young, Big Spile. Let him get into his mood there. But shout out to you. Point well taken, dude. Those like playing hooky, especially like in earlier years of high school where it didn't really matter that much because you're still away from college and they're not going to take your marks for that. Those were the best days. But like grade 11 onwards, you guys call it 11th grade onwards. I don't know. I don't know how your high school days went, but I didn't give up before 11th
I didn't
grade.
care up until grade 12. That's when I really started.
So that's normal around here. All right. Okay,
yeah. I mean, because with like university, they only looked at like your top 6. And
Exactly.
so I was just like, you know what, let me start caring, you know, but I was partying hard, you know, grade 9 to 11, you know, stay in school, guys.
Well, you stayed in school, but
I
you were
did stay in
partying.
school, yeah.
No big
you
deal.
know, but I got my act together. I was just like, you know what, I got to get serious about my life, you know, and so I did go to school. So shout out to my school, but they don't pay us to shout them out, so we're not.
Did you hear what your friend Obi just
No.
said?
What did he say?
Did you hear what he said?
No.
He's like, drop out of school so you can trade. Come on,
I wish,
Ob.
honest-
Come on, Ob.
I honestly wish I did. If I knew that was a career path when I was like 14 or 15,
Fair.
I probably wouldn't have, but I didn't get into it until 2021 during the pandemic.
Yeah,
because,
a lot of people did.
Yeah, it was just like school was over. I was just like, I was actually contemplating being a lawyer. I actually wanted to get into law school.
Nice.
And then trading found me, it saved me, and I was just like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I don't want to be a lawyer every single day of my life. That seems very mundane, to be honest, because actually, just like off topic here, I did an internship in the States, actually, and I was hanging out with a lot of lawyers, and they said, run. They said, run, you don't want the smoke. And so I said, oh, you guys don't seem too happy in this career. So I ran for the hills, and now I'm here, so happy to be here. But jumping back into these trades, so I got in on that NVIDIA short, and that is printing. It is printing down, so I added extra here around 135.70 because I thought that if it rejected off of that VWAP level and didn't break that VWAP level and came down to this price here around 135.70, 135.66, then I would be getting in a little bit heavier there. So that is what I'm looking at. I'm looking to take profits probably around 135. Going to piece off a level at that. Sorry, actually 135. That's kind of a little bit far. I'm going to say 135.33, take a piece off of there. And then if I like what I see still, then 135 for the rest. How about you, Sharif?
I'm looking at I'm looking at your trade because Obi's in the exact same trade as you. He was in it from, I believe, the break of VWAP, 136.25.
Sweet.
The break of the prior low. Oh, he got in when you called it out,
Okay,
Stan. So
sweet.
shout out to Ob. He's in it too. So we're going to wish both of you guys the best of luck and hope you print up multiple storms.
Let's go.
Shout out to Big Spile as well. I saw that played hooky at the same buddy's house that had the shady dad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Big Spile. I love it. You say the stuff that we say in private, but you say it out loud. That's what's beautiful about you, and I wouldn't change you. So shout out to Spile. Ramram, let's have a look at what we're doing here at this 20,180 point area. This is the volume weighted average price on the NQ December contract. I want to see if we bounce off this area. Last time, obviously, we did a nice little hammer candle there and then made a new high. That doesn't have to be the same thing. In fact, it looks like it's going to break down over here. Let's see if this one prints a newer low. That will take us down to 20,165. But Adara's at the big desk, and she's got some for us.
Time for our crypto segment. We're going to start with a bit of an interesting story from Microsoft. You may have heard, because I covered it last week, that Michael Saylor has been baiting Satya Nadella, the Microsoft CEO, a little bit here with regards to his crypto investment. That's because apparently, according to an SEC filing, Microsoft is now going to be looking into the possibility of investing in Bitcoin. However, this is not Microsoft's decision. It's going to be voting on this proposal, which is an assessment in investing in Bitcoin. During its December annual meeting on December 10th, there is this National Center for Public Policy Research, which has been floating this proposal. So Microsoft will vote on it. Though its board of directors does not like this proposal. The board of directors does not want to be investing in Bitcoin, calling the proposal unnecessary, saying that the firm's management has, quote, already carefully considered a Bitcoin investment, and they don't want to do it. So MSFT on watch here, keep an eye out for December 10th to find out whether or not we actually end up voting here on a Bitcoin investment, though it sounds like all signs point to no. BTC here, all signs point to yes for that last 2 bullish months. Great look here in October, though it's worth noting, according to a JP Morgan report, revenue in the mining segment, as well as profit, actually falling for 4 months straight. So a third of the year, we've had a decline here in Bitcoin mining revenue and profit. So weak look for the miners, but not a weak look here for BTC. We had a rounded bottom here. Now we're looking like we're going to make a bit of another rounded bottom, a bit of a cup and handle. Let's see if November 2024 is the month where we make new all-time highs. If these or any other tickers are on your mind, get in the chat and vote. Just go ! Join, space, $, and whatever ticker you have your eye on.
We thank Dara for that. Yeah, make sure to weasel on into the chat. Vote for your favorite tickers. Bears versus Bulls, letting you know, vote, vote, vote. There's a whole lot to vote about today, guys. I mean, we had so many earnings names yesterday that we can talk about, and a lot of volatile ones, too. Have a look at Intel. Have a look at Amazon. What else reported yesterday that's moving big? I mean, there's lots. Not coming to my mind right now, but you guys get it. So I wanted to talk about VSTE over here. So this one, we were talking about the bull flag, this, that, and the other ram, but it did break down decisively. And now it's coming into that volume-weighted average price, and it's doing some bottoming tail candles over here, candles of indecision. So I want to see, does this get its footing at this 560-ish level, 5 2/3, thereabouts, and then we'll take it off VWAP. But I don't want to be catching a symphony of lower highs. I want this one to pop up at least above that 615 level. Show me it's got the ability to make that newer high, because it hasn't had that ability since that candle printed at 1220. I'm talking about the 5, lower high, lower high, lower high. You guys get it. It's a series of lower highs, in fact, lower lows as well. So give me something above that 615, 614, something like that. We'll get involved. So much so do I like this. Now, again, this is candle specific. So once this 5-minute candle closes in 1 minute, you know, I won't be basing it on this candle, because it won't be the first 5-minute candle will make a new high, right? But I want to see if it gets right above there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an alert at 614 to let me know if this one's working its way back above that $6 area, and by extension of that, a new high above this candle. So that will keep eyes on that one. There, you know, a lot of stuff that was moving well in the earlier trading session is not really doing anything now, like ATHA hanging out at those lows. CDXC. Now, look, if you got anything off VWAP or $5, you've done very well on CDXC, and that's where initially I got in, but I had earmarked my stop for VWAP, and this one proved to me that it wasn't using it for that purpose. So, yeah, the range is in play right now, 505, 510 with that 5 essentially 40s to the high side on CDXC, but it could be a VWAP hold high of daybreak kind of situation. ASPI, we're yapping about this one, coming back into the volume weighted average price. Ramram, I think he wants to go. So we'll keep an eye out at that. 810, 811 as well is the level that we were earmarking for VWAP on ASPI. So that could be interesting as well. Here, VSTE is really breaking down now. Look at this. It's really dropping below VWAP, so this one's looking like it's going to retrace possibly at least into the lat lows. It's below the 10, the 20, and VWAP, so the only thing holding it up right now, I guess the 15, and that's not a level that I use for these small cap gappers. So I've got no trades on at the moment, to be honest with you, and I've got no ideas either, and I haven't been looking at these large caps, and I'm not really interested in looking at the large caps either. I think we do have Videra, though, at the big desk.
Hey everyone, yeah, so I just had an idea here. So when we talk about timing, it is currently around 1:15. And when I look to position into the markets, it's going to be between 2 and 4 o'clock. This is typically when you get that kind of slumped, low volume moves to start to pick up again. And so some of the names I'm looking at with a lot of strength, right now, Boeing. Boeing looks like it's threatening to take out the high. Whenever I see this structure right here, when I see a pop, a drop, and a close in the middle, this is a classic pivot level. Why? Because market makers don't like to chop it here. They like to actually take it to the high or the low here. In that, when you get to trading and you're able to identify places where you can enter, where it takes out the third direction. I see a lot of you guys in chat, you're smart enough to actually mention this a lot, that market trading isn't just up or down, it's also sideways. And especially as an options trader, sideways is punishing. So it's not a 1 in 2 chance, it's a 1 in 3 chance, theoretically speaking. So this right here, Boeing, I have alerts set for 154.90 right here. This will be my entry for 1/3 of my position size for next week calls. And then after that, if we get to the high, I'll add to this trade. But Boeing, still bullish on this one despite the volatility we saw yesterday.
Hide my license plate. So I was gonna ask Raider this, but now you're here, and you and I have talked about car colors before, and we had a little bit of a disagreement.
We did.
But you're muted. But I think we saw eye to eye after that as well, because we
Yes.
agreed that it was a nice color, but not necessarily for the car.
Yeah.
All right.
Or for you.
Or for me.
Yeah.
Here it is. So Ram, let's throw this on. So right now, it's kind of hard to see because the picture I took is not very nice. So right here, so this is what I'm doing, Raider. See how it's blacked out over here? So he's got the black badge, up here. So I'm going to do that to mine. So the left is my car. The right is the car that I want to copy. And then look at this Raider. He's got black all over the bottom there.
Yep.
Mine is gray. So he wrapped it all black. So it kind of matches the top there. I'm going to get that all. Well, you don't like the black, Ram Ram?
I think.
Oh, thanks, Ram Ram.
Cars.
She doesn't like it. She thinks my car is gross. Thank you, Ram Ram. Thank you. So I'm going to get this. This is the weekend job. So we're going to get this all blacked out, that blacked out, and then on the sides over here all blacked out. Raider, your thoughts?
Like it. I think Ford calls that grabber blue. I'm a Ford guy. If you guys didn't know, I have a Mustang. I'm actually going to wrap it soon. I'm going to wrap it myself. But so I'm going to be in the garage for who knows how long. But if I go missing for a few weeks, you'll know I'm in there.
I heard restaurants say that you work a lot on your car. I love
yes.
Yeah.
The blue, that bright blue, I love that car. That's a good color. Yep. I love that color.
Thoughts?
It looks good. I like it. I mean, to me, it looks similar to the color that we were arguing with. A little bit darker.
Yeah.
But close enough. I'll give it a pass.
Do you like the gray or the black? That's my question to you. So right now, like I know it's not very clear. The picture kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But do you like the gray areas or do you like the black areas? Now here's what Randy said to me. Let me just throw something in your way.
Okay.
Randy's like, it's gonna get scratched up if you do it polished black. Whereas that's why they have it matte.
I like the matte black better a little bit. I find, I don't know, the glossy kind of makes it like a toy car like looking, but like the matte, it looks mean. I like that.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement.
Yes.
Yes, we're in agreement. Not like last time.
No. We won't argue this time, but that looks good. Yeah.
All right. So then it's settled. I'm going through the weekend. I'm definitely getting it done. It's an entire job. They got to take off everything. They take off all the badges. They take off all the parts. They wrap them. So it's a job. So I'm not going to have my car for a couple of days, but I'm pumped to do this. It's like the first thing that I've done to my car after I chipped it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
What made you want to detail it in this way?
Just because I think it looks more badass.
Okay,
Quite
fair.
frankly,
Yeah.
just like the black badging rather than the chrome badging. I'm
That's
not
fair.
a big fan of chrome.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, yeah, black badge.
No, that looks great.
So shout out. Let's see what everyone's yapping about in the chat over here. Axel Slim, Satya, Amazon retracing day low. Thanks for sharing your experience. You're getting love in the chat, man. Shout out to you. Let's see what Aura Alpha's saying. Get a carbon diffuser. Don't be cheap. Shout out to you. Okay. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Sebastian says make it blue as well. Now, okay, I've actually thought about that, but matching the color, I think, tone for tone, might be a bit of a challenge unless I get it done through the dealership. And we all know what kind of rinsing you're going to get there as well. So shout out to you. Crippin' out here. Yes, well, blue by far my favorite color. So it's not by design or anything like that. Scott Edwards, shout out to him. What is he saying there? I used to have an F-type, great choice. I'm English, so I'm partial to a good Jag. Dude, you and I both. I love English cars. I know that they have issues. You got to keep them under warranty. Once they're off warranty, it behooves you to get rid of them. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a lot of money at the dealership. But yeah, we digress a little bit. So, Taya, what are you up to over there?
Yeah, for sure. So someone's saying GA, was it GAST or GSA? I think it was GSA. Yeah. So I put my order here at 153 and 155 because I did not want to get faked out at that 150. I wanted further confirmation that it would actually break. And it got to that level at 150, and then it's just retracing down to VWAP. So that's why I like to have, my orders set a couple of pennies above that level. Again, because we want some more confirmation there. We want to make sure that we don't just get, lick grabbed and then it comes to the downside. And so that's why even a couple of pennies can really save your account from you getting, a little bit rinsed there. And so, not rinsed, but it's only a couple of pennies down, about, 4 pennies or 6 pennies down. And so that's not crazy, but if you want to be precise, getting in at those 3 to 5 pennies above really can save your P&L. And then I was also looking at NVIDIA. So I guess I got stopped out there. So I put my stop here at 136.15, and so it got up to around, 136.17. Of course he did. And then it's coming back down. And so, look, I didn't give it enough room, but the thing is, I could always punch back in if I see what I want to see. I do want to see another break of 135.87 if I am going to get involved again, but I just didn't like the fact that it broke above VWAP, and then it's also holding this 9 EMA, which I don't really like. It seems like the trend is really starting to reverse there, so I didn't want to hold it too much against me because I am a scalper, and so if it's not doing what I want it to do exactly as I punch in, I'll give it some room, of course, but if it doesn't do it within, you know, a 5 to 15 minute time frame, I'm just going to get out of there and then reevaluate, and then if I see what I want to see, I'll get back in. And so I'm going to cancel these orders here that I had on Amazon and GSAT because GSAT didn't do what I wanted it to do either. But shout out to, I think it was someone that brought it to my attention that GSAT was, you know, approaching those highs again, but it just didn't get to the level that I wanted to. And then so I'm interested in what you guys have in the chats. Paul A saying CNK. So let's take a look at that. CNK, I mean, this is not something that I would typically trade just because, you know, it's on the cheaper side. But from what I can see, we do have this rejection here at $30, that even dollar, very distinct, very interesting there. And so right now we're at this $half level at 50s. And so I want to see a break below 50s. I don't want to see it hold 50s if we're going to continue for, you know, the short here. But this is not something I'd really get involved now for the day trade, to be honest. You know, if you got in already, like if you got in at VWAP around 29.70 or even at these tops around 30, then I'd say, yeah, continue to hold it. But in terms of getting in now, I don't like the look of it. I mean, if it breaks below 29.40, then I'll see what it does there. But I don't want to get involved yet. And then how about you, Sharif?
I think this is what Ram wants to do to her car.
Ooh, that looks nice.
Okay, number one, I love it. I like the neon. But number two, you're going to get pulled over right away if you do that.
It looks like a cop car.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not just that, but you always get pulled over probably because of the way you drive, Ram. I see you do those donuts in the pickup. I like this. I also like this. I like how she lowered it. Well, this is what you wanted to do, I'm assuming, right? Like, I like how you lower it, like this car is lowered. But let me tell you, Ram, you drive on the streets of Toronto like that?
Boom. Those speed bumps are going to be chipping the bottom.
Oh, God, yeah. Some of the bumps, like, on the road to the drive to where I'm like, how can they not know about this? Like, there's no way that I'm the only person that's complaining about this speed bump. But
no, seriously.
City's broke, so it's all good.
Do better, Toronto.
Ram? Raiders got some for us at the big desk.
Raider. Just a quick update, guys. I did trigger my entry on Boeing just a few minutes ago while they were talking. Again, that was over that 154.90. I'm still in this. Again, 1/3 of my position size. I don't plan to add anything unless if we start to crank up into the last 2 hours. Again, I'm all about timing. Lunch hours, there's a lot of fake outs, there's a lot of moves, but I like to stay in these names. So right here, I did trigger an entry for next week calls on Boeing. And also, I did want to show this just briefly since we are talking about cars, the Raider Mobile. This is the Raider Mobile right here. The black Stang, some people in chat were laughing that it was called the Black Widowmaker because they think I'm going to just spin out. But despite all the bad reputation with Mustang owners, I am a very good driver. Yeah, so a little bit of work done to this car. The taillights, I cleared them out, iced out with an exhaust. It's a little, if you guys see my Instagram, you'll know how loud it is. But then the insides, this is the special one right here. Nyang, 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 nyang. If you know, you know. Okay, guys, back to you.
Yeah, that's a 5.0, baby. So that's a big boy engine right there. Raider, supercharger, yay or nay?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yep. It's a Whipple.
Let me ask you, do you have that loud supercharger whine?
Yeah, so I have a whine tube. It goes through the firewall underneath my feet by the gas pedal. And so when you rev up on it past like 4,000 RPM, it goes.
Love it. Yes, man. It's not as bad, I'm assuming, as, what are they called?
No, it is not as pronounced as Hellcats, no.
Yeah, sick. No. On my car, you can't hear the supercharger whine either. It's like super tamped down. So, all right, guys, superchargers. I know we're going off on a tangent, but it is Friday, so we can kind of keep it light, keep it nice and conversational. We got Raider with us. We're not going to have him for too much longer, so we'll get in some conversations. Guys, I want to let you know that Mobileye didn't even work down back into VWAP Ram. It was able to hold that 15 and a third, 15 generally in a quarter, and now it's working into that local area top that we got out at. That was 1566. Now we're at 56. It's a nice symphony of green candles here as we put in higher lows and higher highs, working right back into that local high. Ultimately, though, we've got that 1583 top on the day, but we're doing our darndest to get back up there. We're putting in higher highs and higher lows. So that's why I like this one. I'm not going to work back into this one. I want to see how it trades at that 15 and 2/3. So we know it topped out there, couldn't break that level. It's looking awfully good here. The volume's picking up a little bit. You got a symphony of green. Now let's see what we do with that earmarked resistance level at 15 and a third. It takes it. Definitely be persuaded to get back in. But it did look for a moment, or it still does, that the future might be changing its tune. Nice double bottom hold off VWAP. And we were looking at this, but I didn't have the, the compunction to get into VWAP, get it, Adara, at that level. Quite frankly, but we did notice the VWAP dip there, and that's got a lot of different names moving up. The likes of Tesla is off the low there and looking to take 249. It's at the 20 exponential on the 5. Even the dead one is a rose. Look at this. It removed itself, it moved itself above the volume weighted average price. It also took out, I don't know, I'm not talking properly, this 223 and a quarter. So we had been kind of topping off there, 11.15 to 11.30. We just took it out. We got to a third of a dollar, even a bit higher. So Apple's got a 4 green candle setup on the 5-minute and looking to take out local tops. We do know that we'll likely have trouble with 223.80, given that it was a pre-market top there. It was doing a decent amount of volume. With that high of the day, that IB high, 225 and a third, we're moving back up. Let's see how we do here. If I take something long, it likely won't be Apple on the day in the Mag 7 world. Let's go with something a little stronger, like Microsoft up 2%. Even though Google is not up big, it does have a nice little higher low pattern, higher high pattern. We still are off the highs, but we do now have money talks with Adara.
We usually look at the daily chart here for the DXY when we do this in the morning, so I like to look at a different time frame here in the afternoon. We're looking at the monthly. What a month we had here for the DXY. Bullish engulfing, taking out September and almost even August price action to the downside. And it looks like as of right now, we're on day one, but it looks like we're poised to repeat and push further. I'm seeing potentially some resistance here in the DXY, at least on a charting basis, at that 106 level, which was the top here for July and also June. Interesting look there for that US dollar. And of course, the biggest thing we had today in the economic data world was that much lower than expected print here for non-farm payrolls coming in at 12,000. There's this chart here from CNBC showing this in context. And you can see here, this is January 2022 compared to August. Definitely a pretty weak jobless claim there we got. There were specific things impacting this, including hurricanes here that we had coming through in, screen. There we go. Apologies there. We had some hurricanes, of course, in July, not in July, in September, that could have been impacting those jobless claim or those NFP numbers. In addition to the fact that we had the Boeing strike, apparently they're estimating 44,000 to the 46,000 difference there in jobs for September in the manufacturing space was likely due to Boeing. So we'll have to see if any changes in that Boeing strike situation, which is getting voted on Monday, could be impacting the DXY, or at least the non-farm payrolls for next month. It's also here, we did have the November 7th Fed meeting now on Thursday. Apparently they're pricing in a 100% chance of that 25 basis point cut. So good chance we get that 25 basis point cut. At least everyone seems to be factoring that in. We'll see what we get in less than a week, guys.
Yeah, I want to show Ram the chart over here. This is Lululemon, guys. We're up a decent percent here, almost 7%, and at the highs on Lulu, breaking through 20. And here it is, Lululemon Athletica up 7%. Shout out to Adara, on pace for the largest percent increase since October of 23. No way, that's over a year ago. So that's a big boy move. I don't have, Adara, do we have a reason this is moving up? She's looking. All right. So would be the highest close since June. We haven't been high this high since June 10th. It was at 318 and a quarter, on pace for the largest percentage increase Since I mentioned October 23, that day rose 10 1/3. It snaps a 3-day losing streak, a little bit less interesting now. It's down 37% and change year to date, on pace for the worst year since 2008. Wow, okay, interesting. Did not know. This is interesting here. I'm screenshotting this because this is all good data that I can just use for later. So Lululemon, don't know why it's moving in this way. Adara's looking. I don't have personally anything on my blotter. Neither does Neil. Neil was looking as well. Guys, this is the chart. This is the daily on Lulu. So it's by no means, you know, near highs or anywhere near anything like that. But we did take $300 today, and we've gotten up almost in 320. Now, I should point out that we're at an important area right now on the daily, and that is the 200 exponential moving average. Now, we know how the 200 acts on the daily. The 50 and the 200 are important. Adara, though, has something for us at the big desk.
Unfortunately, not news. I have no catalyst to describe this move here in LU. I also pulled up the daily chart to see if there's any kind of breakout. I mean, we have been in a bit of an uptrend after making lows around early August, so this could potentially just be a breakout within that uptrend. It's worth noting here, too, though, there's a lot of social media attention for Lulu. We're not talking multiple tweets a minute. Actually, now we are. We're just getting even more tweets here. So lots of social media interest for the ticker LULU. They also have a not insignificant short float for the size of the company. We've got a $40.86 billion market cap, 5.27% short float there for LULU, as it looks to make new high of days, up 7.5% right now, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Adara. And so someone said NVIDIA in the chat, breaking below VWAP. And so this is what I was looking for originally. So it seems like it faked some of us out here, got above VWAP, and then it is coming to the downside. And so I want a little bit more confirmation here because I'm still looking for this short. And so I want to see the break of 135.53. So I have an order sitting there around 59s and then up to 55s. And so I want to see that trigger there because I am convicted in this short. And so I didn't want to give it too much room just because I can take advantage of getting in and out, you know, within a couple pennies on our P Pro 8 platform. And so I just jumped out, but I'm still convicted in this trade. And so I really want to see that get there. I like the fact that it got above VWAP, wicked below, and then came down here. And it seems like Raider wants to say something over there, so we could switch over to Raider.
Sorry about that delay. They had to do the translation for my Spanish section. I'm speaking Spanish right now, but the AI is translating it to you guys. So it's outrageous. As far as Boeing right now, guys, I did take an entry on this. Again, this is why it's important for patience. 11.08, I'm not going to exit this anytime soon. But one trade I wanted to highlight, you guys knew this trade I took the other day, which was TWLO. I'm going to sell my calls, majority of them, since they do expire today, I'm going to sell majority of them today for 130%. This was a trade I took with you guys live on this show here to this week. So TWLO, again, this idea came from Flow, and the options market was betting on another high in this, despite being up so much. So this trade really paid out, 130%.
This part of the show is brought to you by eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform you need. Infinite data, instant trading. Know where the market is moving before others with lightning fast data. Charts that change the game. Customize and analyze markets faster your way. Better backtesting and scanning. Predict the future by understanding the past. Reliable real-time data. Up to the second market info from hundreds of global markets. Everything you need, all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or click the link in the description.
Shorter. Thank you very much for that, Adara. Yeah, I was just speaking to stay off camera about, like, you know, things not really being, there's not a whole lot to trade, at least for me. I mean, I'm trying to stay away from the Mag 7 today. Obviously, the Mag 7 is moving to the downside, and that has Big Spile very happy. And Raiders clapping. Everybody's happy on here. It's selling season, says Big Spile. Short the pops. And he would be absolutely accurate. Let me show you what I was just talking to Satya about off camera. We're just waxing esoteric there quickly about this level that we were going to get into on the futures, and that was 20,250. but we hit a brick wall, Satea.
Yeah.
It's not the first time we've hit that same brick wall.
Exactly.
Third time's a dang charm. We're at VWAP again. What's your look on these markets right now?
Yeah, as of right now, I'm looking to go short on NVIDIA. And I was just talking to Sharif. He mentioned it to me. He's saying that the QQQs are kind of making the same, like if we look on the NVIDIA chart and we look at the QQQs, look at that similarity there. And so I'm going to use that as kind of a directional play as well. I think that if the QQQs can break down below this level around 488.06, then I think NVIDIA is going to follow suit. So I'm looking at that, looking to get filled around 59s to 55s. I think, again, the fact that it got to this level and then broke down again, I think that this gives us a little bit more confirmation. And so we did have to, give it a second try, but, we are convicted and we're going to Raider.
Okay, everyone. So again, live translation. If you see my mouth speaking Spanish, but really it's English. That's the new technologies here. But as far as what we're doing here, guys, the SPY drop here, again, we talked about it multiple times today. 574 being the bias we closed under today. That was from that NDX order. Big call sellers coming in here, and that's kind of the flow I analyze. So again, what's the next move of the market? Well, it's again, bias under 574, whether that means tank or not. It could just mean a pin here at this level around 574 before the close. But one thing's for certain that I'm actually looking at, and this is why everything is about positioning. Notice how Boeing is holding the highs while SPY is actually dropping from the highs. Relative strength is so important in the markets. You have to know the rotations. You have to know where money is flowing in the markets. And we talked about over with Sharif that it was flowing really into a lot of the defensives, and that some of these more beaten down defensive names was what I was looking at to trade. Boeing ended up being the one that I took. And so this is so important for a lot of you guys. You have great tickers. You have great setups in mind, but you're trading the wrong tickers that aren't necessarily where the opportunity is. Again, you can go and trade, Tesla. You can go trade mega caps, but if you ever wonder, why are these stocks moving so much more? It's because of the rotations. Rotations are easily found ahead of time. You just have to know relative strength. And so when you're looking at stuff like defensives right now, beaten down like BA, or even when we look at the Adobe, the ADBE, these ones are holding the highs. Therefore, they're going to be the better continuation trade if we do close higher again Monday. But again, swinging over the weekend, I'm betting on Adobe. I'm betting on Boeing. I'm not betting on the things tanking like SPY to make any sort of significant move.
Well said, Andrew. Thank you for that. You were in the middle of an analysis on NVIDIA.
Yeah, for sure. So I got a little bit scared, not going to lie, before we passed it off to Raider. The fact that we just bounced a little bit, got to VWAP, but we're not breaking VWAP yet. And so this still makes me convicted in this trade here. And so I didn't get filled, which I'm kind of glad that I put it, at this level and didn't really get, caught up in this action here. But on the way down, I want to get filled on the way down. I don't necessarily want to punch in, at these levels here. And so I'm looking at that. And then we got filled here. And so I'm looking to take profits around 135, just, an easy bus stop level here, 63 cents there. And then someone was saying Meta was kind of following suit in terms of the QQQs. I feel like it doesn't necessarily look the same as NVIDIA, as close to the QQQs as NVIDIA does. But it is coming down here. But the thing is, Meta, it doesn't necessarily look bearish as of right now. With Meta, it still looks like it's holding, this uptrend here. And so I still like it for the long as it doesn't break below VWAP. But that's just my take on it personally. But I don't think it looks exactly the same as it does on the QQQ NVIDIA as an NVIDIA. Because if you look on NVIDIA again, just look how similar, how they look. So it held above VWAP, and then it started to break below VWAP around 1245, and then it didn't necessarily break VWAP around 1245 on the Qs, but it is starting to kind of break down here, and it has a similar look there. So I think the charts are a little bit more similar with NVIDIA to QQQs rather than Meta. So that is that. And then Kanye East, that's kind of funny. I'm using 135.70 on NVIDIA as a bull bear level. Okay, 135.70. Okay, this level that we're at as of right now. Yeah, I definitely think that's a good look as well. And I also feel like as long as we don't get above this candle around 135.94, I think that is a key pivotal level as well, along with VWAP. But I think we are coming to the downside, and so that looks good as well. But, with NVIDIA, it could chop and it could churn. But I think another level that we can also look at if you are still kind of wary that NVIDIA may bounce is a break of this level around 135.60. And it seems like it's coming down to that level. And so we look like we may break. Let's see if it really does break that level. Okay, it is. And it's bouncing a little bit off of, okay, we're down. And so it's doing that type of action there. And so, yeah, I really like that trade. I really liked it just because it broke below VWAP. Again, it came up to VWAP, couldn't break too high above it. And then we did that two-man VWAP touch again, and that made me even more convicted in this trade. But it seems like it's trying to bounce a little bit off of this level. And so I don't want to see, too strong of candles wicking at that level. If I look on the 5-minute, we are wicking it a little bit. If I look on the 15, we still kind of see that action happening there as well. But the next 15-minute candle is going to be closing in about 2 minutes. And so if I see that next 15-minute candle closing below this level, 135.54, then I'm going to be still convicted in the short. How about you, Sharif?
All right, we weaseled into a couple of positions, guys. CDXC, already a couple of beak wetters, took 10 pennies off this. Looking for, this is the only reason I got in, a VWAP hold after a monster topping tail candle that makes a new high a day. So I didn't buy the dip. I bought it after it had already dipped off VWAP. So already a couple of beak wetters looking for this to hold. Stop is already in play, not going to give too much back. And on top of that, smaller position as we're now 15 minutes or so away from the end of the show, and I don't want to have to be managing these positions while I'm on the big board. The other position that I'm in right now, this one not doing so well, but we're also not stopped out. So I got into ATHA again for one specific reason. It did a VWAP hold. So I said, okay, if this wants to whiffle and waffle at VWAP, I have an area specifically where I can get out. And that is the bottom end of this trough right here. So if we give up the ghost at 59 pennies, that's all I'm risking, 3 dang pennies on this. So if it breaches 59, that's the end of the story. But obviously I'm looking for something in and around 68 pennies because that's the level, or sorry, 65 pennies, excuse me. That's a level that we held as support for a long time, and that's a level that we were using as resistance for a long time. So this one's breaking down into 61 pennies now, so we're 1 penny out of the money on this. Nothing really going to go against me in terms of anything more than 3 pennies on that. So we'll pack our patience with ATHA, but we'll also look at the one that's doing all right, which is CDXC. Next beak wetter up here, 38s. And then we're going to layer it. I do want to de-risk the majority of the position, not all, just the majority in front of 45. Why is that? Well, 45 was an obvious level of resistance. Look how many times we've interacted with that level. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go, 37s. I'm waiting at 38, bruh. Let's go. So it's a bit of a spready name. So it's got 33s on the bid, 37 on the ask. So it's going to have to cross by a little bit for me to get filled. It's not just about getting printed once the ask gets into 38. So accounting for that, obviously, as well. Keeping my eye on this one, 38's now on the ask, and there it is. We get the print. Now we got to move up a little bit over here. We're going to sit at 45s. No, 45s is the wrong move. I'm not going to put it at 44s because that's an unlucky number. I'm putting it at 43s. We'll see if we can get up into that level to wet our beak for that 45 rejection. So that's what I'm looking at for CDXC. How's the other one doing? Not so good. Now we're 2 pennies out of the money. And you guys are laughing, 2 pennies, but obviously everything is relative, right? So we're going to keep our eye, I'll keep my eye onto this, not looking for anything below 59 pennies. But if I had to guess, I think this one breaks down. I think this was kind of a short to pop type situation, Ram, where what we did was we got into VWAP, breached it, put in a bit of a hammer candle, weaseled back up, only to right back down again. So we'll see. It's not going to be hard to find out. It breaches 59, I'm out. Simple as that. ATHA, a good mover on the day, but not really respecting VWAP a whole hell of a lot. Let's flip back to the other one. Yeah, rejection off 40. So now we know there's a bit of a seller of note here at 40s on CDXC. So I can account for that. I was expecting them at 45, right? And we still might get them at 45. And that's the thing. You might have a seller at both. So the reason I was looking 45, obviously I made that point clear already. Pretty Panda, GSAP, baby, I'm The Whisperer? All right. Sounds good, man. If you're going to be the small cap Whisperer, then you and I are going to be very good friends. Now, let's have a look at GSAT because that was moving earlier. Oh, yeah, it's moving. And here's the thing, though. Pretty Panda, you know I love trading these small cap gappers, and more sympathetic to you I could not be for why you got into this. But I will not personally breach my rule of taking it below the pre-market high. As a breakout trade, this is the pre-market high, that $1.79, $1.80, whatever you want to earmark that as. So we're still well away from it. 53s just printing there, but obviously you've done well on it. Well, and the reason I can tell that is been putting in higher highs and higher lows, but to each their own, baby, right? Like, I mean, you've got to have some rules, and I've got mine. I like this all the way up to at least $1.60, Pretty, because that's where this upward channel is. And let's have a look. We can kind of create a parallel line there. Oh, yeah, it's a good-looking upward channel. No doubt about it. Respectful of the levels. Let's see if we can get up into that $1.60 because that's where it looks like right now. The upward or the upside of that is. It did look like we breached that level on ATHA, and I'm now wondering why the hell I didn't get stopped out. But we're above 59 here. But look at that wick. It wicked into 58. If that's a real wick there, let me look at my side chart. Yeah, it is. And I don't know why I didn't get stopped out there. That's kind of concerning. My order didn't print. But now it's moving back up, so I'm kind of happy I didn't get stopped out. So, Taya, what are you looking at?
For sure. So someone in the chat, Sam, he was asking me what helped you learn day trading. And it was actually around like 2021, 2022 when there was like a market reversal in the crypto market. And so I got in at the bottom. And so I realized, okay, I can't be holding until the moon because it's not, a good price level. And so that's how I started to get into day trading. And then, as the market kind of started to dry up a little bit, I was looking into day trading jobs because I really being in the market, I really just knew that this was something that I wanted to do. And so I found Real Trading, Day Trade the World, whatever you want to call it. And so, that's what really made me get better. Shout out to Wayne, shout out to Brankles, shout out to Yannick, shout out to Jose, Justin, everyone on the floor, everyone here has honestly helped me with my strategies. And so I knew how to trade, but just picking everyone's brain, Obi, can't forget Obi as well. Picking their brain has really, I'm so sorry, Obi.
Wow, he got really upset there, eh?
I didn't mean, but everybody's brain, I've been picking at it. And so usually, I'm a quiet person on the floor.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I had to talk to you too much until you got onto the show.
Exactly, yeah. I was kind of just a fly on the wall. I'm not really like a person that talks. I just keep to myself. But every so often I would ask people, about what their strategies were, and so they didn't even realize I was low-key stealing, their strategy and making it my own. And so, that's what I did. And so I just accumulated everyone's strategy, and I started to, refine it and make it my own. And so that's where my trades started to really hone in. But I really want to shout out Brankles as well, because I feel like his strategy as well has really rubbed off on me, and that has really helped as well. So Real Trading, I have to shout out Real Trading. They've made me the trader that I am today. I feel like the biggest issue that I had in my personal account was the fact that my risk management was terrible. I would get really good entries and exits, but the thing is, sometimes I would just, blow the account, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? But as I, came here, I'm really strict with my risk management, and so I'm profitable again. So shout out to Real Trading, and yeah, that's who I have to shout out there. And so I learn every single day. But if you are in Toronto and you really want to refine your trading, apply, and be a part of the campus program. It really does help. You could do it. You could work from home. You don't necessarily have to be in the office every single day. And so if you want to be a better trader, a more consistent trader, a profitable trader, you need to get in on here and really get in here, because it will make you so much better. And I just have to shout out the floor. And that's just how I got the best.
Yeah, and I was going to say to you, when they told me that you wanted to come on the show, I was like, but she doesn't talk to me. right? That was my thinking initially, but it shows you like you really should not judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
And then you come on here and you're completely natural. It's
Yeah.
like you're not nervous. You can talk up a storm.
I'm
So,
just.
I mean, I didn't know.
I'm just more introverted, to be honest, and I feel like everyone was a little bit like, like is she just gonna be sitting there like doo doo doo?
No, I didn't think that, but like I was just unsure, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I've seen you a bunch of times in the back, but you're not like the chatty type. You know you were talking about Patty, but Patty talks to stones.
Yes,
Yeah, Patty
Patty
will talk to anything. You know what I mean? Like we love that.
He will talk to a rock if you could, you know.
He's
And
coming after today,
Oh,
too,
for
eh?
sure. Yeah. And so he kind of got me out of my shell, to be honest. Like I feel like it's like only child syndrome. I'm an only child, so I never had like really siblings to really chat up a storm with.
Fair.
And so, but when people talk to me, then I will speak. But a lot of the time, I am a wallflower. I still am kind of a wallflower. As I get off the show, I'm like
Okay.
mute zone again.
Yeah, but like you wouldn't be able to tell when you're on the show. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, really?
You throw a
Okay.
bit of a curveball in that
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, it's Libra. You gotta balance it out a little bit. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
okay,
And
okay.
so I am, quiet. But when I'm on the show, you gotta put on a show. You can't just be sitting here boring the crowd. You gotta put on a show here. And so shout out to Sam for asking that question about how I started day trading. Again, if you guys are interested in learning how to trade real campus
Right
trading,
there.
scan
Right
that
there.
code. Yeah, scan that code right there, and you can get a chance to get on the floor and refine your trading, guys. So that's
Dang.
what I have to say. How about you, Sharif?
I'm good right now. We're not doing that well on ATHA though. So now it's not using 60 as support anymore. Now it's using it as resistance. So if it drops below 58, that's the end of it. The one that we're doing okay on, but it's pulling back a little bit here. Unsurprised, given how it's traded today, CDXC. It's a VWAP hold, high of daybreak setup. When that daybreak or when that high of daybreak comes, your guess is as good as mine. But these type of setups where you have that initial strong move up in the open and it doesn't fade, it holds VWAP from the north side, meaning it uses it as support. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes what these bad boys will do, especially if they've held up, is break that 562, in this case, high of the day in that more liquid time period. I'm talking about that 2:30 to 3, that power hour when the volume starts coming in. Sometimes it's before, sometimes it'll be now or even 1:30. So CDXC, certainly on watch. Given how it's traded today, it's going to definitely be a holdover for me. Keep it up for tomorrow. And in addition to that, it ran in the aftermarket yesterday. So obviously it's a day 2 play. Didn't really have much trading during regular market hours yesterday. So 534, we're long at 25s. I'm looking for more, but it doesn't look like it's going to give it to me. Now, ATHA, oh, that's not what I want there. ATHA is another problem. So let's weasel on back. Now it's getting back into 60 and it's breaking 60. I'm unsure what to make of this over here. It's below VWAP, and I think that it's wrong for me to be in this trade below VWAP. That's not why I got into this trade. I mean, I can flatten out here for a bit of a smaller loss. That'll be a 2-penny loss rather than waiting for a 4-penny loss. It looked as if that I had my stop below 58. That's why I didn't get triggered. I thought it was 59, but it looks like I put it at 58. When I checked, right back above 60. I just don't want to paper hand this where it ends up holding and I end up getting printed. Whatever, I'm going to let it go, see what it does. If it stops me out at 58, we'll accept that. What's everybody doing here? Hey, Davis, hydrate, brother. Fill that bottle up for Hydration Nation. Yeah, this one's an empty one over here, but we got a full one behind. You can't see it. That's the cranberry cocktail over there. I like that.
go.
Hey, yeah, Joe loves using that. Oh, that's not that one.
Oh.
Joe loves using the got rinsed. As soon as I take a loss, that dude's hand
ready.
right away. Oh, he's so pumped to actually play the race. What a guy Joe is, bro. Shout out to Joe, man. Awesome dude. He'll be on Monday, obviously, dropping a lesson on Thursday. Fantastic lesson, by the way. Thank you for dropping that today.
No
Tatum
problem.
does her lessons on Friday, so if you liked what you heard today, you're going to get more of that next week, obviously, as well. 4 minutes left on the show. What are you guys chatting about there in the chat? Let's see what you guys are talking about. Aura Alpha talking about a Tesla reload short at 247.80. Let's see what he's looking at there, or they're looking at. Let's see, 247.80. Shout out to you, man. Great look there. You get into that 10 exponential moving average, right back down again. And even when you got a deeper one, that market pump that we were talking about, that ended up being a fake out, goes right into the 20. and then drops again. I always talk about this, that shallow retracements go into the 10, the deeper retracements go into the 20. And then, yeah, as you can see, we're working right back into that low of the day again on Tesla, 246 and 2/3. We just breached 247 right now. Man, there's a lot of blood in the market today for some of these names. Some other names, obviously, like Amazon and Microsoft, stronger. Meta flat, 0.75. Google flat, 0.2. Apple down 1%, but the monster NVIDIA is up 2%. And you wouldn't have known it looking at how it traded today. So definitely the gap up certainly helped this one. Well off the highs, Satea. Definitely getting some support here at 135.50. That's been a level since the better part of an hour now almost. But it looks like we're breaking down here.
Awesome. Yeah, I was looking at that Tesla. That Tesla looks very interesting as well. It's breaking through these lows. We may see a little bit of a bounce there, but, you know, we want to see if it does break around this 246.67 level. And so also, too, just real quick, NVIDIA, you little sneaky girl. Like what? We were looking for this level, the break of this level, came up, came down, bamboozled us all. And so it's coming back down again. And so if we weren't a day trader, I mean, I would have just held this. You know, it stayed below VWAP, but we just, you know, we want to manage our risk properly. But that's just what I wanted to look at. I hope you guys, you know, had a great, you know, time looking at the show. We got Raider on here, we got Sharif, we got Obi. And so what you guys need to do is, if you guys have social media, you guys need to add Raider Trader. He's on Instagram, so add him up. Trader TV Live, you need to add that up. Satea Trades, Satea.trades, you need to add that up. If you want to see those bus stop levels, I want to see hashtag bus stop level, hashtag Satea. I want to see those bus stop level, guys. And then Obi, shout out, I don't know if Obi has any social media, but.
No, he's too good for everybody, bro.
Yeah, oh boy, hashtag oh boy, and at Trader TV Live. We want to see what you guys are looking at as well. And so thank you guys. Thank you for staying. And we are on to the big kahunas over there. Almost. 1 minute. 1 minute away.
We got 1 more minute. All right. So I did get another out here, Ram right at CDXC, right at the top over there, right at 543. This is not, or this is the last out. Do I have any more? I got one more out on this bad boy over here. So I'm going to let this cook, see if it wants to take out the high of the day. I'll move up my stop. There's not a whole lot to talk about today, guys, in terms of small cap, gapper world. I'm sorry, we tried grasping at straws. CDXC, possibly in play for the afternoon. I'm just going to leave you the couple ideas. Certainly Mobileye in play still as it's above the volume weighted average price, but not a whole lot of other small cap gappers, sadly. And it is now officially 2 o'clock. You're getting love there from Kristen Norman in the chat saying thank you, Satea.
No problem,
One of many
Kristen.
different people, as well as other Zinc saying hashtag bus stop levels.
Yes.
It's already working. All right, guys.
Awesome.
We'll see you guys. Same bat time, same bat channel on Monday. But for now, it's Obi and Neil. Take it over, boys.
Yo, yo, yo. Good afternoon.
Yo, Ramin did